Well, guys, Alabama is not looking like Alabama tonight. One of the most pitiful performances that I've seen Alabama play in a football game in a long time. Not prepared on either side of the ball, not able to handle success. And this team with an embarrassing performance. Oh, talking about embarrassing, one of the worst. And I've seen a lot of football, and I've seen a lot of bad calls. Probably the worst call in the history of me watching Alabama football. We're going to talk about all that right here. Phone lines are going to open up soon. There's a lot to get into as Alabama is just getting hammered by Oklahoma. Let's get the show started. Clint Lamb and Mick Gillispie, thanks, guys, for hanging out. If you think that today's game stunk, give us a thumbs up because we're going to be honest about how we feel. Clint, I'm absolutely embarrassed by this performance by Alabama today. Coaching stunk. Both sides of the ball stunk. Milroe, terrible. Officials, bad.
You can keep going if you want to. I mean, it's
You know how bad this was, Clint?
It's as bad as I've seen it in a very long time.
This is how bad it is. This mustache is gone.
You know what? Do it.
I'm cutting it. We were going to hold on to this mustache to win a championship. Nope. Sorry. I'm going clean shaven. Terrible.
Hey, you know what? You look great now.
I look better?
You look great.
Honestly, man, I'm going to be honest, and I know you guys are fired up too. What an embarrassing game.
It's like I said, it's as bad as I've seen it. I mean, just both sides of the football wasn't prepared at all. I think the way that Oklahoma attacked Alabama or how they attacked them, as far as Alabama's defense, I think that was kind of new. They took a lot out of Vanderbilt's book and just how they kind of did the triple option stuff, how they implemented that, was able to play ball control, a lot of quarterback runs. Alabama probably, should they have seen that coming? Maybe not. But at the same time, with the way that they had struggled with their passing game, with the fact that they had so many receivers out, even guys that they had gotten back recently, they were ruled out once again. Down your top 5 receivers, it's like you had to know there was going to be some sort of emphasis on, hey, this game's at home. It's senior day. Play good defense, get the crowd involved, and then run the football and keep Alabama's quote unquote, if you even want to call it that at this point, dynamic offense off the field. And they did that to absolute perfection. Like I kind of made the argument in the first half that it felt more Tennessee. A lot of people were talking about it looking like Vanderbilt. And I think as far as, what Oklahoma was doing, it absolutely did. But as far as it being a close game, Alabama didn't put themselves in a hole immediately, down 14 points to Vanderbilt. So it felt very Tennessee-esque where Oklahoma was giving Alabama opportunities to take control of the game. They were missing field goals. They were turning the football over. And Alabama just refused to take advantage of any of it. And they let Oklahoma stick around to a point where Oklahoma started to get some things going offensively, and you just saw absolutely nothing. Their game plan was pretty simple, guys. It's not that hard. We're going to run the quarterback because Alabama apparently didn't see that coming at all and had no answer for it. And then we're going to stop their quarterback from running the football. That was the game plan, offense, defense, and they ran it to perfection. I mean, this isn't just a 3-touchdown deficit. It's a 3-touchdown deficit to a good Oklahoma team, this is you never saw anything like this under Nick Saban. You didn't. You saw Alabama get handled really one time, and it was against in the national championship against Clemson. This is a 5-5 Oklahoma team, right? I mean, just that hadn't been able to muster up any sort of offense, and they ran for 250 yards on you. Quarterback goes for 100 plus, running back goes for 100 plus. This is as bad as I've seen Alabama look in a very long time. And I'll be curious to hear what Kalen DeBoer's got to say about it. I mean, what's the justification going to be?
No, I can't wait. I'm playing that press conference. I can't wait to hear it. And I'm stunned. I mean, just like you said, this Oklahoma team isn't good. I mean, it's not like they went in there and ran into a good Georgia team in Athens. This is a garbage Oklahoma team that couldn't even throw the football. Clint, they don't even have any wide receivers. And the quarterback's not even like he can run. He looked like Forrest Gump out there, just left and right and kind of stumbling around, but we couldn't tackle him. It was like we had no game plan at all to stop the type of offenses that I used to see when I broadcasted county high games. Look, Wayne, let me put your quote up there. Total shit show. No other way to put it. It was. No other way to put it. I mean, why can't these guys handle success? That's it.
This is the first time once they beat LSU, the way that they beat LSU, everybody started singing their praises again. And it really just from start to finish. First of all, I did see somebody say, don't put this on the coaching staff. This is on the players. I think that was John. Look, John, I respect your opinion. Do I think it was a lack of execution in a lot of situations? Sure. When Jalen Milroe's running east and west, when it's clear that he could just go north and you're getting a first down and you bounce it. I mean, that's not a coaching thing. I mean, you can't do nothing if you're a coach in that situation, but just the lack of being prepared, the lack of, when you're watching them use the running backs and they're having success running the football, it's like if Jalen Milroe can get tackled for a loss, he can get tackled for no gain 3 or 4 times in a given drive. But Nick Sheridan's not getting away from that. He's going to continue to implement that and stay committed to it. If the running backs get an opportunity, they can go 5 yards, 6 yards, 9 yards, whatever. The second that they have a limited or no gain or a negative gain, it's like we're getting away from this. And I'm not saying that happens 100% of the time, but it happens often enough where there's it doesn't make any sense to me, because the most consistent aspect of your offense that you had tonight was your running backs. And they found themselves in a situation, and I said this all last week, multiple times on multiple shows. I mentioned my concerns for Elijah Pritchett when he's put in obvious passing situations. When you allow a defense to pin their ears back against Alabama's offense, and Proctor was a problem too, but I was a lot more concerned with Pritchett. It's a situation where you beat LSU the way that you do because you stayed on schedule, you stayed ahead of the sticks, you controlled the game, you threw 18 passes. But in this situation tonight, it was way too often where they were losing on early downs enough where it was obvious passing situations and early in the game, and then you start getting down in the second half. Now Oklahoma knows you're dropping back and throwing the football. And now they're able to tee off on you. And it's like it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate how it ended up working out. But the coaching staff, a lot of it is a lack of execution. But a lot of it also is on the coaching staff because guys just didn't look prepared.
No.
When they show, and it just might be unfortunate timing, when they show Jalen Milroe on the sidelines early in that game, he looked deflated once again. There's zero, and I don't know, maybe they're just catching him at bad times and he's encouraging guys and they're not really showing it, but just it felt like when they've shown him on TV against Tennessee, against Vanderbilt, against obviously tonight against Oklahoma, he looked dejected, and the entire offense did. The entire team did. So from a leadership standpoint, someone has got to believe in these guys and get them going and say, we're going to figure this out. I didn't see that from anybody tonight. It was really unfortunate.
Yeah. Look, I agree with you, man. I mean, it was basically like a high school offense that I used to see in 7A football in Alabama when you don't have any receivers. You just run the ball every play. I mean, and you're right. This could have been a lot worse. Milroe not picking up the blocks, the offensive line not picking up the blitz. I mean, we looked like a team that had never ever saw pressure before. I mean, they put everybody at the line of scrimmage. I mean, why? And then how many times was in the first half? I mean, you talk about adjustments. First half, these guys would just blitz everybody, and Milroe would just duck his head and run into the blitz. Like, I mean, it was so bad in so many different ways today.
There's a couple things, Mick. Number one, the piss poor block attempt by Kobe Prentice was absolutely inexcusable, and it's terrible. And you know, I
understand caught the ball before that, Clint. So what's he worried about a block for? He actually caught the ball.
It's like, I understand he's probably had a frustrating season. I don't know if his role in this offense has been what he wanted it to be, but maybe one of the things that's differentiated others from him is when they're out there and they have that opportunity, they're blocking their asses off. And I'm not saying that everybody was doing that tonight. I'll have to go back and watch the tape to really see if guys were giving the sort of effort that they needed to. But on that particular play, it was absolutely atrocious. The second interception, the pick six, it was yet again. And what happens is Milroe gets frustrated. You know, things aren't going well, and he doesn't handle the adversity very well. And he makes an inexcusable throw, one of those Texas from last year type of throws, or Ole Miss in the end zone last year, or it's like, I don't know what you're seeing, buddy, but that ain't it.
Yeah.
And then the inexcusable part was the lack of effort on the tackle. To me, it's like it's one thing when things aren't going your way, but when you see guys battling and going to war and trying to overcome, you know, one guy, Ron Williams, faced a lot of early adversity. He was dropping passes. Other guys were too, but he wasn't playing great football. But one thing I'll give him credit for is you could tell he was going to war, and he was fighting, scratching, and clawing as much as he possibly could. It's unfortunate what happened on the touchdown getting called back. That was one of the worst calls I've ever seen, but just the lack of effort in some of these situations, whether it be with blocks, whether it be with tackles after you've thrown a back-breaking interception, you really, I mean, I'm not even going to attempt. Normally, I'm a half glass full kind of guy. I'm someone that's going to hop on here. I'm going to point out the good things. I'm sure I'll find something good to say about this at some point tonight. But right now, it's just there's nothing really to defend.
All right, guys, look, the phone lines are open. You got to get in and hit it and get out so we can get a lot of you in, because I know everybody's going to want to talk about this. Make your point, and I'll start it right now. 24-3, by the way, the final. They got the Oklahoma fans off the field. The field's not going to be rushed for Alabama much longer if they don't get this shit figured out. Who's this and where you calling from? Say that again. Who's this and where you calling from? All right, just hang on. I'm going to try to get this figured out. Clint, just kind of, as you watch hold on. I do hear you, but you're not in my board. So give me a second, man. Technical. You got to love the technical issues here.
I guess we can't really say anything, Mitt. We're not prepared either. Everybody, start to finish today, just it was bad, man. Yeah. And just all these comments. I mean, people are right. They have a right to be upset, and I understand. You know, what's unfortunate is when Alabama, I really do feel like that the game and the momentum really could have changed on that Ron Williams touchdown.
They could have. Hey, Carl, are you there?
I'm here.
There you go. Clint, you're exactly right. But let's get to the calls. Who's this and where you calling from?
All right, guys. This is G. Ellis from Mobile calling in again.
Hey, what's up, G?
Hey, man. Look, man, I know you said let's hit and quit it, so I got my notes. So I'm going to try to go ahead and run through them real fast, man. First, guys, can we learn to catch? I mean, can we learn to catch? Can we just have catching drills or something? Is that possible to do anymore? Also, Cuevas over Dupree. Let's just go ahead and throw him on over him real fast. The play calling was worthless. This is the most worthless play calling game I've ever seen. Smitty J commented earlier that there were no adjustments made. I would argue that they didn't make adjustments from the last game or from the LSU game they played. It seems like they're like, hey, look, these guys let us run Milroe all day long. It looks like it's working now. Let's just do it. Hell no, man. Wrong team to do that on. You got to mix it up, get the thing going. Use the running backs to run the ball. We almost lost Milroe today because we're using them damn near every play out there, man. I did want to get your guys' thoughts on that worthless flag that they threw out there on that field, man. It was the second phenomenal catch from Ryan Williams. I didn't see he was covered. I didn't see any illegal hands anywhere. And another thing I wanted to get your thoughts on. I think Milroe went off script at least twice or three times out there. Two times coach had to call a timeout, and the third time ended up in that phenomenal catch by Ryan Williams. I think he was also getting a little frustrated at the plays that were coming in as well, man. Piss poor blocking. Sheridan ain't got no confidence in me. Womack is hanging on by a thread. I did want you guys' comments on that flag call and whether or not you guys maybe thought Milroe went off script too, man. I'll hang with you, want me to, or I'll drop off. Roll Tide.
Hey, Roll Tide, man. First off, great call, G from Mobile. Always great to hear from you. Secondly, that official should be fucking fired. I mean, that to me, Clint, it's unacceptable. I mean, like calling a touchdown back, your job is to know what the rules are. You know, like somebody's got to go over and go, hey, dude, you are effing the game up with this. That's how I feel about it. I know you're probably more mild-mannered than me, but it's like the guy made up a penalty. I'm so sick of these officials, man. Like, they're terrible every game.
The worst part is that it was like I was saying before. I do really feel like that a touchdown catch there, that was your only chance to really shift the momentum. And I don't know what would have happened from that point forward. Am I overly confident that they're still going to overcome a 14-point deficit? No, not necessarily. But I think with an entire quarter to go in that game, it's certainly possible. And they wouldn't have even had to have really needed to have gotten away necessarily from their offense. Like, they still could have mixed in, a lot of your run stuff, because with an entire quarter to go. Now, if they would have, if Oklahoma would have gone out there and chew clock, yeah, Alabama would have been under pressure at that point, and we don't know whether they would have or wouldn't have. But I mean, I wouldn't have felt overly confident that they could have prevented Oklahoma from running the clock. But here's what I'll say about the penalty. What doesn't make sense is you got to have 7 guys on the line of scrimmage, and you can have as many as you want to on the line of scrimmage. But when you have a certain number, the furthest guy outside is your only eligible receiver. And so in this situation, Ryan Williams was a triangle trips formation to the right side. He's on the line of scrimmage, and there's no one outside of him on the line of scrimmage. So he is eligible. The reason that the flag, in my opinion, and I could be wrong on this, but what I think what happened is they called illegal touching. Well, you can't call illegal touching until the guy catches the football. And so once the ref is looking down the field, he's judged or decided that Ryan Williams was not eligible. And when he sees that the football is going to him and he's probably going to touch it, he goes ahead and he throws the flag. But what's the inexcusable part is the other two guys are clearly off the line of scrimmage. He's the only one on the line of scrimmage. It didn't make any sense whatsoever. How you can get that confused is just completely beyond me.
Yeah, and that's
a critical point.
Right. And they were even saying on the broadcast, like, that's a penalty you call before the play even goes down. But maybe they're wrong about that.
If you
ever see anybody call, because if you're not 100% sure, you don't call that penalty.
Well, what the thing about it is if there was questions about him being all the way lined up on the line of scrimmage, then that is a penalty that you call pre-snap. It's an illegal formation, but they didn't call that. They called it illegal touching. So there's so much confusion. That's where they were trying to figure out, did they say illegal touching when they meant illegal formation? They were trying to figure it out, and they couldn't. A lot of confusion there, but if you're not 100% sure, you can't call that flag. And even after you threw it, there's still time when you've got time to think, to pick it up. And they do it all the time. They'll throw a flag, they'll think about it, they'll talk about it.
Yeah. Somebody needs to come over and be like, bro, you just fucked up. And fix it. And somebody needs to. Sorry for anybody I'm offending. That guy fucking sucks.
Anybody that someone needs to answer for this and just explain what the reasoning was. Maybe there's something that everybody's missing, including the broadcast guys. I don't think so. No. But if you didn't royally F that up, someone needs to come out and explain why they didn't F it up so people can understand. Because and to say that this is the reason Alabama lost is completely absurd. It's not. It's just that was your one opportunity to get something going, an explosive play downfield, an exciting play to really start capturing
Nobody's
momentum.
saying we lost because of that. They're just saying that it was just awful and it ruined our chances to come back. We lost because our coaches, for the second time this season, went into a football game with momentum and thought they were going to show up and win. That's why. Like, we were not prepared again. This is Vanderbilt part 2, but worse.
It's a mix between the Vanderbilt and the Tennessee games. It literally it is a very nice blend of both. They ran and here's the thing. What you're trying to do preseason is you're trying to look at, okay, what are some scenarios? What are some situations that we can find ourselves in? And then how do we put our guys in a position where if we find ourselves in that situation, they are prepared. And then as you go through the season, it's like, okay, you need to be covering things that you struggle with or whatever. Seeing what you saw against Vanderbilt and the fact that you had no answers throughout that entire game, Vanderbilt had their way with you. You would have thought, hey, that's a situation that might creep up at some point, whether it be situational or whether it be an entire game plan that's the exact same pretty much. And when you're looking at Oklahoma, granted, we didn't talk about it before the game, but in hindsight, it's like that would have been a pretty safe bet for them because they didn't have any receivers. They didn't have a passing game.
None.
So it's like, hey, we got a mobile quarterback. We can catch them off guard a little bit. Let's just, hey, let's see what happens if we run Vanderbilt's offense. Yeah. And the fact that you hadn't already seen how much you struggle with that and already came up with some things to help defend it the next time it rolls around, that is a major problem to me. That is where coaching and that side of it really comes into play.
All right, let's go back to the phone lines, make your point, and we will chew on it and get to another call. But thank all of you guys for hanging out with us tonight. Who's this and where you calling from?
Hey, Mick, it's Ice, man.
Ice, dude. I'm pretty fired up, man. What about you?
Oh, I go by Ice Man because I say cool when everything's not cool. But I am pretty pissed off, yes. I wanted to add this real quick and then get to some of the things I want to complain about. But, why can't the coaches do what the UFL does? Why can't we go to what they do and just challenge a penalty if it's wrong?
Yeah.
Because if these officials are not going to get it right, and it's obvious that it's wrong, and you see Coach DeBoer, who is fuming on the sideline, and even the commentators are saying, like, yeah, he's a calm and collective guy normally, and whenever, he's right and something's wrong, he's going to get all fired up. He should be allowed to throw a challenge flag at that and say, no, you are wrong. That's a touchdown. That should absolutely be a rule at this point, because if the refs aren't going to get it right, then let the coaches fix it for them. That's what I think needs to be done. I know that's just going to fall on deaf ears. NCAA sucks anyways. Unless the SEC wants to make that a conference thing, I don't know. But as far as, criticizing the team, I'm not going to put this on one player. Milroe was bad. Our entire O-line was off. Kobe Prentice really let me down there. That was awful. I can't believe that he missed that block. I was so excited because I saw him get that catch, and I was like, hey, there's Kobe Prentice. Like, we've been kind of missing him all year. And then he completely ruined it by that just not even half-assed, like quarter-assed. I don't even know if he had put that much effort into the block. I don't know how many penalties we had tonight, but I imagine it was probably the same in the usual. But if I had to take something
4 for
positive
30.
to say, Nick,
4 for 30 on the penalties.
That's probably the lowest we've had all season, too.
I know, but they were holding a lot. Obviously we got the worst penalty that I've ever seen.
Yeah, that was terrible. And
awful.
Like I said, I think we should be allowed to challenge that, throw a challenge flag on that. I guess from here, there's 4 games I really wanted to win, and we're 2 for 4 right now. We got to get this one next week. I mean, I'm not going to take a loss to Auburn. I don't know about you, but that freaking Cowtown over there can shove it. So I guess I'll see you guys at the Citrus Bowl. If you guys come up to Orlando, top golf on me.
Hey, I love that.
Anyways, man.
If I don't want us to play there, but if we do, we'll definitely hang with you, Ice.
Hell yeah, man. Well, roll tide as always, and I'll let the phone lines go through.
All right, thanks, Ice man. Roll tide, brother. Thanks for calling in. Clint?
I mean, what I want people to understand is that this is a big crossroads for Alabama. Like, I don't think people realize, like, you've got the stuff that's going on with Underwood and Michigan coming in, and you've got Ohio State swinging for the fences, spending a lot of money. You know, you've got Alabama trying to hang on to recruits right now. You got a couple of, less than 2 weeks until signing day, about a week and a half until the early signing period. And then you've got, you've got Auburn over here really trying to capture momentum. I don't know. Did they blow it against? It's
31-28. They've got the ball with 16 seconds left on my TV. I don't know.
I mean, if it really doesn't matter what happens against A&M. I mean, if they beat Alabama next week with what's going on with Alabama, 2 back-to-back losses to end the regular season right before signing day, the fact that Auburn's really trying to close strong on some of these recruits, they've got a good class. They're going to have all the momentum, all the excitement. So next week's game is still important for Alabama. But at the same time, it's really frustrating to see the seemingly lack of effort by really just, it seems like almost everybody involved.
Mm-hmm.
It's offense coaching, it's defense coaching, it's offense, it's defense as far as players. I mean, anytime that there's a loss, people are going to panic. They're going to overreact. But just the way that this looked, it is unlike anything I've seen in quite some time. And I really don't even like what could have led with the way things were trending against Missouri and against Mercer and against LSU. Things were really trending in a positive direction. And it seems like that the mental state was correct. And then it just, once again, it kind of got to being a little bit too much talking and not enough doing.
All right, let's go back to the phone lines again. Make your points, and we'll get to somebody else on, and then we're going to watch Coach DeBoer and hear what he has to say. Who's this and where you calling from?
Hey, Mick, it's Stan from L.A.
What's up, Stan?
Well, this is a catastrophic F up tonight. I mean,
yeah.
I don't know where to begin. You took the words out of my mouth. This is like Dandy, but on steroids. This team is as bipolar as I've ever seen a team. And it's just, I mean, this is hard for me to take. I mean, I'm trying to be as optimistic as I possibly can, but there's nothing whatsoever that this team showed anything tonight. It just laid down. It has no way to respond to either victory or adversity. It's just this even-keeled, numb, no freaking fire in the gut, no intellectual no intellectual football IQ whatsoever. The offensive line was atrocious. Freaking Pritchard, man, yank his ass out and put Formby in. You can't do any worse. And for God's sakes, I mean, no running game. They actually were doing pretty good with the running game, but they're inconsistent. And Milroe is a freaking ball hog, and he is out of sorts. It's over his head. He was never there in this game. So I saw every doggone interception he threw. I don't throw the ball there, and he threw it right there. It's not complicated, but they make it complicated, and it's sickening. It's sickening to see a team play like this. And when Deontay Lawson went down, I mean, that was freaking it for the defense. They just had no answers, They didn't want to have it. It's like they quit. This team had no drive to actually play for its goals and its aspirations. We're going to get that. I hope not, but God dang it. If they show up like this against Auburn, that's going to be one of the most catastrophic losses Alabama's ever going to have if they don't get something fixed right quick.
Yeah.
Because this is as ugly as it gets, folks. And, no fucking cigar tonight for me. Pardon my language.
No.
This is
I don't care. Say what you want, man.
I'm livid. I'm livid. I'm livid.
Well, look, Stan, great call. I've got DeBoer queued up. I'm going to play him. I want to hear what he has to say. I appreciate the call, and
that call did suck. Yeah, that call.
Oh, dude,
did
how
suck,
bad was
dude.
that? I mean, it's awful, man. How do you get away with taking money when you're that bad at your freaking job?
I mean, that took every momentum that we had. I thought there was an inkling of a chance that we might just be able to at least get the ball game close. All I wanted was a fucking touchdown, and we couldn't even get that.
The play that the kid made to catch the ball was amazing. And to have some dummy that's over there taking a paycheck that ought to be fired, making that kind of call, he doesn't know who's on the line, what they're doing on the line, then don't make the call. If you're not fucking right about it, don't make the fucking call. That's easy.
And it's exactly
right.
It's
I mean, if you don't know, you don't fucking know.
Right. And it's been atrocious all year long, not just on our game, but in every freaking game. Every freaking game. These refs suck.
They're terrible, man. They're terrible. Like, you sit around, you talk about this. Great call, Stan. You talk about this. You watch this team. You follow these guys. Look, there were a lot of other problems out there, but it's just a shame that the officials are that bad. Like, to make up a call. Like, just make one up.
Well, it's like Bama's playing bad enough, man. And it's almost like these refs were like, you know what? I don't like the fact that Alabama playing piss poor is the storyline here. Let's make it about us.
Yeah, right.
Let's take this over. I want to get us back in the headlines. It is crazy how this is a problem every week. And I will say, it's like these refs. It's like a cry for help. I mean, at this point, it's almost like, guys, we have been telling you we are awful at this entire year, and each and every week, it's like, how much more can we screw this up where someone finally does something about this? Dude, and instead, we're just going to try. And here's the thing. Once again, you can only blame so much on this penalty. It just was frustrating because I wanted to see if that momentum capturing touchdown could be enough to really start to right the ship. And would Alabama have won? Maybe, maybe not. Probably not. But at least make it more respectable, at least show some fight and some energy. I just wanted to see that. At that point, the refs decided we're ending the game right here with about 8 minutes left to go in the game.
All right, let's listen to a little Coach DeBoer, and then we'll pop back. I don't know if I can stand to listen to the whole press conference. I like the guy, but, man, his team, awful today.
Extremely disappointed, frustrated. Just, we worked, I thought, extremely hard all week, putting a plan together, guys, good energy, excited to come here on the road. And, we just got to play better. We got to be better in all ways. And there's some simple things, uncharacteristic things, I think, that happened early in the game where we didn't get the momentum on our side, and then really it comes down to the end of the first half, them scoring a touchdown, and then, the turnovers really kind of changing the momentum of the game there. So, turnovers were going to be a key. We said that coming in. We knew taking the ball off them like we did early was going to be big, and in the end, it flipped the other way, and we turned the ball over. So credit to them. They did a nice job with their game, their run game, staying on the field early, in the first half especially. I thought, there's some things that we continued to tweak and adjust to do a better job against it, and what they were doing there. But obviously the game got away from us and in the middle of the third quarter there.
Thanks, Coach. Let's start with Nick here on the front right. No, Mike, go ahead. Did you get an explanation for the officials on why that was called on line that way?
It was just, they said it was illegal touching, so someone would have had to have been covered up, ineligible.
Joe? As regards to the run game, defending the run, how difficult was it with Deontay Lawson going out, moving Campbell more into the microphone role, and what that ended up having to do for you guys at the Wolf position?
Yeah, at the linebacker position there. Anytime you lose a great player like Deontay, it's going to affect you. His leadership, he is the guy that makes a lot of the calls on the football field. Just seems like he's always in control. We have trust in belief in the guys that come in with JJ, and you know, there's those guys take a lot of reps, and he's played a lot this year too. But yeah, I mean, Deontay, and you lose any of your captains, your top players, it's going to hurt you. It's going to hurt you, just your demeanor, emotionally, but also, just the execution on the field. So, Charlie. Yeah, I think stepping back, I just felt like early in the game, there was different things. I mean, drops, just flat out drops, balls we lost in the lights, just different uncharacteristic things, weird things that happened. And I thought he was actually putting the ball where he needed to. We just needed to help him out a little bit. The screen pass, they jump it, and you have to assume that those blocks are going to happen, and you're reading a different defender. But then there's the pick six that goes the other way, and I don't know if he, just didn't see him or predetermined things. But there's still a lot of game left, and I felt like a lot of things he was doing, he was fighting and battling and doing a lot of things well for our football team. And we just all needed to be a little better. So I thought he kept battling. I looked in his eyes, and I think he's come a long ways all season long, and just the way he wants to go out there and keep leading the team, and the guys kept fighting for him. And so that's just pretty much what I shared with him. Just have no regrets. Go out there and keep swinging.
Go back row, Tony. You have a lot of players in this locker room that haven't been in this position before. What do you tell them, and how do you kind of keep things together?
All right, guys. Yeah, we heard a little bit of Coach DeBoer. I'll play the rest of it later. I know you guys want to talk about this game. I'm feeling the vibe here that I think, Clint, we both feel like Bama wasn't prepared. It's the worst game I've ever seen Milroe play. I mean, it was terrible.
Okay, first of all, Rick's over here saying, Rick, if you haven't been on here the whole time, then that's okay. That's no problem. People are showing up at different times. But, I mean, I went on a whole entire tangent about Jalen Milroe not playing well, throw with the pick six and not seeing it and all that stuff. I mean, and the piss poor effort that he showed on the on his attempt to tackle after throwing the interception. That's the captain. So, I mean, you can't have that at all. He's got to be one of the few guys where it doesn't matter what is going wrong. He's trying his absolute hardest. And I do not feel like, I'm not saying anything. I don't know as far as the in-game play after the interception. It was as blatant as it possibly could. It was very piss poor effort to try to make a tackle. It allowed Oklahoma to go up 3 touchdowns right there. And granted, your defense was probably going to give up another touchdown a couple of minutes later, but it doesn't matter. I'm as frustrated with Milroe as I am anybody. And I will say what Kalen DeBoer did say in that press conference, as far as some of his throws being on target, people are going to go back and show there was a lot more on target than you realized. There was drops involved.
Yeah.
They
were dropping the ball.
Yeah. And you got guys like Jeremy Bernard who loses the football in the lights.
Right.
That was a very on target throw. That's not Jalen Milroe. So it's not. Several of his passes were on target. They were either dropped, or you had crazy situations like that happening, or you throw a beautiful ball that gets called back by the ref. A couple of them that get called back by the ref. So I understand what he's saying, but just their commitment to running him into the ground as far as the design quarterback runs, it's like Milroe you call a design quarterback run and it's doing terrible, and you need to stop doing it. And then you call a pass play, and there are opportunities for him to run the football on an off script, run, and he chooses not to do it. So it's like, I mean, stop only running when it's designed. Like, do what you do, improvise a little bit, try to make some things happen. You didn't see. I will be curious to go back and watch. Maybe I'm missing one, maybe two, but it feels like absolute max. It feels like there was like one improvised off script run from Jalen Milroe, and it's like, it's not just the design quarterback stuff. You got to take off, big fella, and you just didn't see it.
Yeah, or when he had runs, instead of running to where there was space, he was running backwards. But let's get to the phone lines. I mean, you guys are waiting. I want to get you on, talk about this game. Who's this and where are you calling from?
Hey, this is Randall Green from Cartersville, Georgia. Live in Beckley, West Virginia.
What's going on?
How y'all going? So guys, listen, I listen to y'all all the time. Love you guys. Mick, Clint, you guys, great analysis. Love y'all show. I stay in the background, listen to you every day. But here's the deal, guys. I'm 36. So I haven't been paying attention to football, for a long time. Clint, I'd say me and you are the same age. Mick, you probably got a few years on us there. You've probably seen some good times before the tough times. I came in the tough times.
I probably have.
Jalen Milroe is the worst Alabama quarterback I've seen, at minimum since John Parker Wilson. The decision making is inexcusable, and I remember seeing him throw up on the sideline against A&M when he had to come in for Bryce, his first game starting, and I knew at that time this ain't the guy. And I respect y'all's opinion. I know y'all like Milroe, and I like Milroe too as a person. I give him a shirt off my back, but the display of quarterback that he's shown us, and it's been 2.5 years, 2.5 years, guys. This guy's not the same. He's not a Tua. He's not a Jalen. He's not a Mac. He's not a Bryce. He's not that. And I put a lot on Kalen and this coaching staff as well. They should have been way more prepared. But we talk about the play calling all the time that it's trash. But if you're restricted by Jalen Milroe's abilities, I'd say every offensive game plan is going to be trash.
Yeah.
Well,
and when the blitz comes,
guys, roll Tide.
Hey, roll Tide, brother. Thanks for calling in, man. Great call. And call back again. Clint, just quickly, when Milroe's blitzed, he just it's like there's no answer for it. I mean, to me, and I don't know, I don't know what the difference is between this and the other quarterbacks, but I know when they put everybody at the line of scrimmage, they score. I mean, they get to the quarterback.
When it's obvious passing situations, how often is Alabama allowing the play clock to get down to 1 or 2 seconds? When you do that, you eliminate any advantage that you have for your offensive line. The defense knows exactly when you're going to snap the football, or they know you're about to get a delay of game penalty. That's your only two options. So that's part of it. But then also you can be so aggressive attacking Alabama's tackles with speed and getting upfield because or you're confident Jalen Milroe is not going to step up in the pocket. If anything, if he faces pressure or he feels pressure, for some odd reason he bails backwards and then he tries to escape outside one side or the other. And so that is such when you eliminate the ability to step up in the pocket, that will give yourself a little bit more time to maybe find somebody open, or you make them pay by stepping up in the pocket and taking off up the middle instead of trying to bounce it outside. That is also a way that you can really make your defensive ends that are being overly aggressive using their speed against tackles that are not set up for those types of situations. You can let them rush upfield a little bit and then attack the beat gaps inside those tackles, step up in them, take off, get yourself some chunk yardage. Jalen Milroe won't do that often enough. And so while his legs are dynamic, he can make a lot of plays. When you get Alabama in the right situations, that offense falls apart quick because you know exactly how Jalen Milroe is going to respond to certain situations. Their tackles are probably going to break down in pass protection, and Jalen Milroe is not going to make you pay if you use speed off the edge and try to turn the corner, and that is a really bad combination, and you see what you saw tonight.
All right, back to the phone lines again, and we appreciate you calling. Make your point, and then we'll chew on it and get back to the phones to get somebody else on. Who's this and where are you calling from?
Hey, Mick, it's Adam calling from Georgia. How's it going?
Not great, man. Not great, as you can imagine.
Yeah, same here.
Listen, I'll just be 1 minute. I'll make 3 quick points because I know you have a lot of other callers. First, I really don't think this is that much on DeBoer. He's a great coach, but this is not his team. It's not his players, and we need to give him a chance. Number 2, Milroe is not good, but there's other players that aren't good either, including on the offensive line and defensive line. I will be glad when Booker and Milroe, who seem to do more interviews than any celebrity, are gone. Okay? They are not good for the team. Third thing is, I think we will be fine in the future, but we have to get rid of Milroe. We have to get rid of Booker. We have to get rid of Malachi Moore. All right? I'm sorry. They are not good for the team. So, like I said, I don't think this is on DeBoer. I mean, I wish he would stop with the ice cream trucks and the stuffed animals and the music, but he's a great coach and I have faith in him. But when Milroe goes and the rest of the seniors go and DeBoer has a chance to build his own team, we're going to be fine. So it's not going to be this year, but I do believe the future is bright, and I would stay positive.
Thanks, Adam, and always good to hear from you. Roll Tide, man. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Mick. All right, Roll Tide.
Well, I mean, all these guys are going to be gone after this year, I would think, right? I mean, Milroe's draft stock is cratering. I mean, games like that, but
I don't know what's going to happen with Milroe. I really don't. I don't know. I don't really know what the problem with Booker is. That is strange to me. And I understand what when things break down and you fail as a team, a lot of people are going to, they're going to put it on the head coach. They're going to put it on the coordinators. They're going to put it on the leaders. So I understand it from that standpoint. And yeah, he does podcasts but that's the nature of college football. If you think that Booker's moving on and everybody moving forward is going to be like, whoa, we ain't doing any of these media appearances, like that's the era. So blaming a player for that at this point makes zero sense to me, because you just need to accept that that's part of it. There's been nothing really outside of that from Booker that I feel like is worthy of criticism. So that one was a little strange, but and Adam's claiming that he's toxic in the locker room. I don't understand it. I really don't have a problem with Booker. I understand the concerns with other people, to an extent. But it is what it is. Everybody's got their opinion. I respect it.
All right, back to the phones again. Who's this and where you calling from?
Hey, Mick, it's Heath from Huntsville. How you doing, buddy?
Man, Heath, good to see you, brother. Not too happy after that performance today.
I hear you, man. Hey, I said so many F words that Candy kicked me out into the backyard.
Hey, you're a true Bama fan.
Me too. I mean, look, I don't think we lost because of the officials, that call. But that call, it's a great example of why these guys need to go, and they need to go pay real people to, professional, guys that officiate. It's $1 billion business, and you got bozos like that guy out there that doesn't even know what he's doing.
I agree, and I don't know if you heard on the call, but like Herstrick was saying that the official believes that. I think what was called on Bernard or whoever it was, they said he was covered up, but he was a yard off the line of scrimmage, so he wasn't covered. So that didn't even really matter, is what happened between the play to Williams in the end zone. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't understand. They also said it's the same crew that had the water bottles thrown on them at the Texas game. I don't know if you caught that. So,
no, I didn't see that.
Yeah.
Well, they did it again. Yeah. They did it again. Look,
they must have come from the Big 12. I don't know where the hell they came from, but they need to go back.
That's so funny to me.
And But I mean, Herford was calling it all out on the call. I was watching it and through the window, listening through the screen. I'm just kidding. But no, I started writing notes down like in the first quarter and stuff. Like, I'm not going dog players. Like I just don't do that. I think Milroe just needs to. If he would have followed some of his blocks early on, that would have helped out. Even though he had some target issues and stuff, the defense was just revving to go. They were on fire. And And then, I have thought all season that Bernard is probably the most reliable wide receiver that Alabama has. He'll climb the ladder. He makes the blocks downfield. I mean, he does a lot of good stuff. And why he's not incorporated more into the in the offense, I don't know.
I don't know either.
Maybe he is. I don't know. But, and then, like Milroe runs backwards sometimes. And that drives me
Me
batshit
too,
crazy.
man. When he's like running backwards or he like ran away from the hole, it's like in the Michigan game.
Yeah.
He was running like he did in the Michigan game today. It's like he's so tentative. And then against LSU, he's running like, like he's the best running back in the country. I don't understand it.
Oh, yeah. And then, in the first quarter, I think it was, Oklahoma put 10 people on the line of scrimmage. And then he wants to run the damn ball like to the edge. That ain't gonna work.
Yeah.
Of course we can't run between the tackles because of the O-line. And I think, and I'm not saying it's the players. I think we need to really look at like the O-line coach and who that is and maybe make an adjustment there. I'm not saying fire the guy. I don't ever believe in, like firing somebody from their job, but there are some things on the O-line that could be cleaned up because I don't care who's running the ball. We're just not that consistent running between the tackles.
Oh, no doubt, man. And this kind of game today, you talk about just being unprepared. Everybody was unprepared. I don't even know like how even the punts were shitty. I don't even know like what I'm even like I can say, hey, you know what? We did this well today. The best play we had, the shitty officials called it off for they don't even know. They didn't even know who was running and catching the ball. They had no idea. There's 3 guys there. The guy that could catch the ball called it, but they probably got it mixed up with somebody else because they're all wearing the same color.
Yep.
Who knows, man?
I hear you, brother. Hey, I'm going to let you go, man, because I know people are trying to get in here, but I want to let you know, Roll Tide, and I will see you Friday at Innisfree.
Come on,
and
brother.
Hey, I can't hear Clint whenever I'm calling in, so y'all need to do something to get this damn phone system up so I can hear Clint, too.
Okay, I will.
Because I like to give him a Roll Tide every once in a while.
All right. Heath, see you Friday, brother. Looking forward to it.
See you, bro.
See ya.
All right, man.
Roll Tide, man. Great caller there. Phone lines are packed, but Clint, Heath gave you a Roll Tide. Any quick thoughts on this?
At some point, and I think it was at the end of the first half, Jalen Milroe had 9 carries. The running backs collectively had 7. Justice Haynes had 2. I want to read you, first of all, no carries for these guys in the first drive. But on the second drive, let's start going through some of these carries. Justice Haynes run for 7 yards. Justice Haynes run for 5 yards. Jam Miller run for 3 yards. Not great, but at the same time, not terrible. A couple drives later, because the next drive they go 3 and out. Jam Miller rush for 9 yards. Jam Miller rush for 8 yards. Jam Miller rush for 2 yards. Not great, but still. A 3-yard gain and a 2-yard gain. Otherwise, they were running the football effectively with their running backs. Why in the world are you getting away from that and you're forcing and I don't know if this is a play call. Maybe it's giving Jalen Milroe the option on some of these option type of plays and he's calling his own number. And that might be, I know, parts of this season, that's been because of what the defense is giving you. But what's wild is Jalen Milroe is the best player on the field from a rushing standpoint, or he's been known as that pretty much this entire year. It's pretty wild that the defense is constantly giving you Jalen Milroe in those situations. So I doubt that is the large, but the majority of what's happening. To me, you need to have situations early in these games where you get your running backs involved consistently and you don't get away from it the first time that they have a bad run. And I mean, a 3-yard run is not a bad run. It's not great, but I mean, to me, that makes no sense as you're watching. And then you get down by several scores. In the second half, I understand it. Justice Haynes finished with 3 carries. He had 2 in the first half. So he had 1 carry in the second half. He had 0 targets. Jam Miller had 1 catch for 6 yards, and he had 12 carries for 45. But I understand it a little bit more based off a game script in the second half or later in the second half after the pick 6. But before that, there's no justification in my mind because they were having success doing it. And for some odd reason, they will not commit to it. They refuse to it this year.
Right. All right, let's go back to the phone lines again and talks Alabama, Oklahoma. Who's this and where you calling from?
Hey guys, it's Levi from LaGrange.
What's up, Woody?
Yeah, I don't know if y'all remember. My second time calling in. First time I called in was a few weeks ago after the loss. Can't remember if it was Vandy or Tennessee, but I called Kalen DeBoer the honor roll Lane Kiffin. Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's a terrible take after seeing what happened today. So yeah, I mean, I can just I agree with everybody else who's called in. I can just say over and over again about how undisciplined, unprepared, how everybody from top to bottom was a trash performance all the way around, and everybody should be held accountable. But I mean, I'll just throw some hot takes out there while I have it. Is that I don't want a coach who encourages one to embrace who they are and their personality. I mean, I believe we're all flawed. We don't want to be ourselves. We always want to be better than ourselves. So I think that if you change that mindset, that could be an attitude adjustment all the way around to make you hungry or disciplined to not give up these crap performances after big games every week. I mean, it seems like they just get Deion said it great today in his reaction in the locker room. I can't really remember word for word what he said, but it's pretty much they fall in love with the success and then they forget to move forward. And that's pretty much how this is. The Missouri win didn't really count. I mean, who cares? Brady Cook was out. They're not even that good anyways. And then we beat Mercer, and LSU's crap too. I mean, we really proved nothing these past 3 weeks, except for we can be explosive like we know. But I mean, this should have been expected by more. And I think it's crazy that whole 85% predictor or whatever. I mean, that doesn't factor in human nature and what this team, their character looks to be. So, yeah.
Great call, Woody. Thank you, man. And call back again. Roll Tide, man. I want to kind of comment on some of that stuff, but thank you.
Yeah, Roll Tide.
People live, and I'm going right back to the phone. So, you guys, we're going to get to you. People, and I've spent a lot of time working in baseball, and they love these analytics, like they love them. You think like analytics, the be all end all, but analytics doesn't factor in human nature. And the biggest thing that you do in this, in the sports world is when you have success, handle success. And we had a coach that it was like he was a machine, when it came to handling success and failure. And then this year, every time we get any success, we're just not good. Like today, like Vanderbilt, like the interceptions, the pick six, you could tell like they weren't making adjustments. Like they had no answer for the option. Good thing we didn't play Army today. All right, let's go back to the phone lines again. Let's get another call in. Thanks for hanging out with us, guys. Brought to you by mybookie.ag. Who's this and where you calling from?
Hey, Mick, this is Joe from Columbus.
What's up, Joe?
Hey, so, I'm 27 years old. My first memories of Alabama are the very end of the Shula era. Let me ask you, when you think about Alabama football, what separates it from other programs?
Well, obviously the tradition and the championships and the standards, I would say those things.
Yeah. So to me, it's always been about the toughness, the preparation, the conditioning. It's, when that team takes the field, we've been through hell, through fall camp, through summer, through spring ball, and we are more prepared than the other team that takes the field. It's a mindset.
Mm-hmm.
And I just don't know if Kalen DeBoer has instilled that mindset in this team.
Yeah, look, I'm kind of with you. I mean, I don't know either.
Like Coach Saban, he talked about it in his press conferences about facing adversity, about, taking one play at a time, looking the guy across from you and dominating your opponent over 60 minutes. When I hear Coach DeBoer talk, it sounds more about, outscoring the opponent,
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, so, I don't feel like we're even, it just feels like we're getting further and further away from what we did in the past when it comes to discipline. And maybe it's a different style. Somebody called in and they're like, he'll get his own players and eventually, it'll be, and he is playing with Nick Saban's guys and that style. But he's got a quarterback that just, when it comes to, he's digressed, man. I mean, you can't say he hasn't. As much as I like him and love when he plays well, it's like there's just
right.
I mean, you can't not say that.
No, and I understand the quarterback situation. And look, there's more parity probably in college football than there's ever been. But to me, it's just the guys that, they're talking about the standard. Nobody ever talked about the standard 5 years ago. There was no need to talk about it. Like, you went out and you proved that on the field. And it just seems like the mental toughness, the discipline, it's just not there. I don't know, you know?
Yeah. Well, it wasn't there tonight. And, you lose to Vandy and we're like, well, it's a good Vandy team, and then you lose to Tennessee. But this one was the worst of all of them. And this felt like, this really, you're talking about a team that had a quarterback that's not even a running quarterback run the ball. This was like student body left, student body right. And it was like, no matter what we did, we just couldn't do anything with it.
Right.
Well, Joe,
all right. Well, I'll
great
let you
call.
get to other calls. Yeah, I'm just frustrated.
Hey, I'm with you, brother. Well, roll Tide in Columbus, man, and hit us up next week. Roll Tide, brother. See ya. We'll talk to you after the Iron Bowl. Clint?
Yeah. Sorry, my mouse is dead and I can't do anything on my screens or whatever. He makes an excellent point with the whole standard thing. It was kind of, the entire program was set up in a way where the standard is what it was. You didn't really have to talk about it a lot. You didn't have to, try to convince guys to live up to it. And I think from an effort standpoint tonight, one of my big issues is that you didn't see guys living up to the standard because didn't seem like there was enough effort in certain situations. Do I think overall guys don't want to give their max effort or anything like that? No. I don't think there's any like bad attitudes out there or any, I don't think it's that extreme, but I will say it does feel like that there's chinks in the armor and teams are taking advantage of it. And I think the most frustrating part for me out of everything is that a lot of it was avoidable. Like, give Oklahoma a lot of credit for the way that they schemed. They were prepared for Alabama, that whole thing. But from Alabama's side of it, it's like you got beat, at least your defense, in a very similar way to how Vanderbilt beat you. And the fact that you're making the same mistakes multiple times like this in a season is a major red flag to me, because you're not learning from your mistakes. And that is something that really hadn't been a problem for Alabama in recent years. So that's been a huge concern for me with this season.
I'm just glad that when we beat the number 15 team, we don't run out on the field and act like we never won a football game before. Hey, let me go back to the phone lines again. And you guys doing a great job tonight. Who's this and where are you calling from?
Hey, this is Ben from Oregon.
What's up, Ben?
Could be better. I've just got a couple quick points. Out of 11 games we played, we've only out-rushed the other team in 4 of them. 4 times that's happened.
Man.
Oklahoma had 35 receivers out of the game, and our crack defensive staff and Kalen DeBoer couldn't figure out they're probably going to run the ball at us. That's terrible coaching.
Dude,
final point that I want to make is the fact that it takes absolutely zero talent to put in effort and to show heart. All right, Kalen DeBoer can't instill that in his players. He hasn't done it this year. What makes us think he's going to do it in other years? The entire staff needs to be fired. The fact that he refused to pull Bill Rowe out and kept him in the game after he didn't try to tackle the player on the mistake that he made shows what he thinks. He doesn't care about effort. That's why they should all be gone.
Great points, Ben. I mean, and it felt
That's
like
really
that.
all I got.
Yeah, it really felt like that.
Yeah. He doesn't care. He does not care. He's too results-based. He doesn't care about the process. He doesn't care about putting in the efforts. He just wants to score on the scoreboard. That's not how you build champions. That's how you build one and dones. He can't sustain success, so they all need to go. And the offensive line coach, I don't know where he drug him out of, what rerun he drug him out of, but he needs to be gone too. Pritchett should never see the field again.
Right. Well, Coach Cap inherited this offensive line. I mean, they came in, they didn't have they didn't get the transfer portal, but they've been bad. This offensive line's been like this for years, man. I mean, we keep thinking they're supposed to be the best unit, and then they let us down.
But if you're a coach, you can't teach your big fat offensive lineman to move your feet when you're pass protecting. What is he getting paid for?
How about when they had the one?
We're getting rushed by 4 guys. Yeah. We have 5 guys on offensive line, and we even keep a tight end, and they're still getting home.
How about the one where
that's terrible coaching?
Did you see the one where they had like 3 guys were blocking one guy, like another guy's just running right past everybody?
Yeah, and Proctor just says, "Go on through, go say hi to Milrow. We'll throw a pick."
The triple team. I'm part of the triple team.
I can't wait until Monroe's gone. Can't wait until Monroe's gone. He is not a winner. He's a front runner. When things are good, he's good. If there's any adversity, he goes into a shell. He needs to be gone.
Well, thanks, Ben. Any other points you want to make?
No, it's just kind of rough out here with all these idiot Duck fans, and I was hoping Bama would pull through, but it's not going to happen this year.
Well, look, Oregon will lose a game, man. It'll happen in the playoff, and that'll be that. And maybe in the championship.
They hate me because when they talk shit to me, I just remind them that, hey, it's sweet that you have the number of national titles right in the middle of your field, that big 0.
Just give them a big roll. Give them a big roll tide. All right, brother. Thanks, man. Thanks, Ben. All right. Good to have Ben on with us. Right back to the phone lines again. Who's this and where you calling from?
Hey, this is Ryan down in San Antonio.
Ryan, what's up, brother? How you doing?
Doing all right. It's pretty tough watching this game. I'll make a couple quick points and let some of the other callers get on here, but my viewpoint on this is that it's easy to blame the coaching staff, but this is execution in my book.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's 24-3. Milrow throws 3 interceptions. One of those is a pick 6, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
And we don't even score a touchdown. And so I'm going to believe in our coaches. I'm going to give them some time to, install their own guys, get a scheme together. And you can make the case that maybe the coaching wasn't the best for this game. Maybe the play calling wasn't that great, but they really only ran with Jackson Arnold. I think he has like 138 yards rushing.
Yeah. 25 carries, 131 yards. Jackson
That's
Arnold.
not coaching, guys. That guy's just not really hustling, trying to get after it. And that bothers me because that's never been Alabama football. We've always, played tough, but man, I guess we don't want it. So thanks for having me on. That's all I wanted to say, but yeah.
Thanks, Ryan. Roll Tide, brother. Great call, man. Great call. Thanks for jumping in on that. Clint, you got anything? I see your back. You get some batteries for your mouse?
Yeah. Once it goes dead and I have something pulled up in front of my screen and I can't see anything and I can't get my mouse to move, I'm like, I don't even know how to handle this. So I was trying to get something. Okay, I'll put it this way. Jackson Arnold set a career high in rushing yards tonight. And, this says that he has 238 rushing yards on the season. And over half of that came in this one game. So he doubled his rushing yards.
Yeah.
But I also want to talk about Xavier Robinson, who's a true freshman running back for Oklahoma. He set a career high in rushing yards as well with 107, 2 touchdowns, averaged 5.9 yards per carry. He had 85 yards entering this game on the season. So he doubled his season total. It wasn't just Jackson Arnold. It was also, traditional running back as well, but just terrible performance all the way around.
Wow. And you know what Auburn's going to do? They're going to run the ball. Get ready for it.
I would.
All right, back to the phone lines again. We're brought to you by mybookie.ag. Use the promo code NEXTROUND to double your initial deposit. We got a lot of other really great deals we're going to talk about with mybookie.ag. But who's this and where are you calling from?
Hey, what's up? This is Sam from Alabama.
What's up, Sam? Good to hear from you, man.
Hey, man, I think I'm kind of numb right now. I mean, these losses really don't bother me as much as the other losses and the other poor play that we've encountered this season. I don't know, man. I mean, I guess this is let's bash on Bureau today. He wasn't the only guy that played bad. I mean, he had his issues, but other guys also had issues, man. And I wasn't sure what happened to Jeremy Bernard on that pass. I understand now that I guess Coach DeBoer said that lights was in his eyes. Because I went back and I rewinded it, and I was like, what in the world was he doing? Why is he touching his, squeezing his chest and putting his head down and closing his eyes? I didn't know what was going on. So I understand that the lights was in his eyes. Is that what it was?
Yeah, they said that DeBoer mentioned that in the press conference. That
yeah, and yeah, go ahead.
No, that they were having problems seeing the ball.
Yeah, and we had a few drops, and I mean, Miro wasn't the only guy that didn't have his best game. I mean, hell, if he had time, Coach Saban always said, if the players around the quarterback play well, then the quarterback will play well. I mean, hell, we got guys that's dropping the ball, we got receivers that's not blocking, and what if Prentice make that block? And like someone said earlier, I mean, the only guy that really goes out and seems like he gives out everything and blocks and catches and does a lot is Jeremy Bernard. I mean, he should be that Alabama's number one guy. I understand Ryan Williams is very dynamic, but sometimes, when Ryan Williams is called on to make blocks, he don't do a good job at it. And I feel so bad for Kobe, what's his name? Kendrick Law? Is it Kendrick Law?
Yeah, Kendrick Law.
Yeah, man. I mean, did the guy even touch the ball today? I don't even think he touched the ball. So, it just, poor blocking. I mean, someone talked about Booker earlier. I mean, these guys have every right to, get out there and do interviews and that's part of their NIL deal. They probably, worked out. So, I mean, they have every right to go out and earn money just as any other regular student can, So, and to me, the only lineman that really, to me, I feel like played better than any other lineman, offensive lineman, was Booker. I mean,
I think he plays great. I love him.
Yeah, every other guy made mistakes, even the center. You know, it was just a terrible game overall. I didn't understand the continued quarterback draws or runs. I didn't understand it. I mean,
neither, man.
And to me, it was that was very frustrating. And I was like, I don't understand what these guys are doing. What's the game plan is here? To me, Miro, you know, when the lane is there, he goes. It just, to me, he's not a very natural runner of the football, man. You know, you see, he kind of panic sometimes, and you try to break it outside sometimes, and that's what a natural runner of the football. They'll find those lanes and holes and everything. But defensively, guys, I mean, the punter shanked another ball today, gave them a short field, and you know, the defense reminded me of the defense we played against Vanderbilt. You know, sometimes we had 3 down linemen. I don't understand what Kane Wallman was doing. I mean, I'm sure he got the memo that Oklahoma's top 5 receivers were out. I don't understand that. Of course they're gonna run the football. I mean, it's kind of also remind me of when Auburn played Alabama in what year was that? A couple of years ago, and the interim head coach, I think it was Cadillac Williams, said that they was going to run the football before they even the game. The day before the game or 2 days before the game, they said they were going to run the football, and they did. They rushed for 300 yards that day. So I don't understand what type of defense this guy was calling, and you know, because they didn't. I don't even think they threw the ball downfield.
Yeah,
you know, I'm not sure what their longest pass was. But it was a poor performance by the players, poor game plan and scheme and poor adjustments or no adjustments by the coaching staff. So it was an all around poor loss for Alabama, man.
Yeah. One of the worst.
They're 1-3 they're 1-3 on the road in SEC play this year.
Yep.
1-3. I mean, I don't know what to say, man. I mean, I'm not as all torn up about it, man. I guess I'm kind of, you know, just, you know, watching this team this year, they've been kind of up and down, and you know, I think someone called them bipolar. So I just try not to get so emotional, man, because it'll drain you. It'll take a lot of energy out you, and I just try to take even keel, man. But that's all I got, Mick, man. Y'all, you and Clint, thank you for taking the call, man. And y'all have a good rest of your day.
Hey, thanks, Sam. Great call, as always, man. And we love it when you call in and talk to us. Guys, I got some super chats I want to hit up, and I want to tell you that I really appreciate it, and Clint does. Everybody here appreciates the super chats. We talked about the call, but Bino, thank you, man. That call was horrible. I used the F word about 10 times talking about it, and I don't fucking regret it. All right, let's go to one of the worst officiated. That was one of the worst calls since I've been doing this. I can't even believe that they would even allow somebody to have that job and make that call. Didn't cost Alabama the game, but it certainly kept them from coming back. It was an amazing catch. It's a shame for the players. It's a shame for Ryan Williams. It's a shame for the team. And it's a shame for the SEC to have this crew and that guy out there. And I wonder you just wonder what the motive is. Is he that bad or what?
I mean, Alabama was a 2-touchdown favorite in this game, and they were down by 3 touchdowns. Yeah, so from like a betting perspective, you know, it's not like
there's no spread getting pushed today.
Yeah, so it's you know, it's nothing like that. I mean, obviously the over under, you're sitting at freaking 27 points. That wasn't really a threat at that point.
Right. Wasn't like that Tennessee game.
I just somehow it was almost like awful. He just what I think happened is Ron Williams is down the field and the ref's trying to figure out, okay, who was lined up where, you know, like he was trying to figure out, okay, was he the furthest guy on the outside on the line of scrimmage? Was another guy on the line of scrimmage? And then he was just like, you know what? I'm pretty sure, and that is to me the most mind-boggling part of making that call. You just can't do it in that situation.
Cody, thank you for the super chat. Milroe's resume is gone. Say they have a good O-line and can run. Yeah, when they just pile everybody at the line of scrimmage, it's tough on Milroe, It's thank you for the super chat. It's pathetic, and the play calling was awful. Throw a quick pass. Everyone is in the box. I agree, man. I mean, it was I thought this was one of the poorest games I've seen coached at Alabama. We're even going back as long as I've been around, and without the mustache, I know I look a lot younger, Clint. But I've been there since Gene Stallings, and I don't remember a game where. I mean, it was like, the only thing they can do is run the ball because they don't have any receivers. And they got this guy that can't really even run at quarterback running past everybody. It was unbelievable.
All year, it seems like sometimes they tend to get it, but it's one of the most inconsistent looks, in my opinion, that Alabama has, which when they get in that 3-man front and that Wolf is playing a shallow off-ball linebacker. And to me, it felt like that didn't need to be a thing in this game. Like, because when they're playing their fits well, it works pretty well.
Right.
But there's way too much as far as, the way that the defensive line has to play things. And then you got especially on those option plays where Quay Rousseau's got to be bouncing outside, taking quarterback. There were situations where he wasn't doing that. The fits aren't there. Guys aren't playing responsibility football, discipline football enough. And so to have that as such a common part, especially in the first half of the game plan, to me was like, what are you really doing? I mean, it's like you're acting like you're playing Big 12 Oklahoma with Kyler Murray at quarterback. And, he's got NFL receivers all over the place in 2018. And it's like that's not who you were playing, and that's the part to me that's a little bit surprising.
George, thank you for 2 super chats. I saw this one pop up there. A joke about the election. Cody, even if all the other players did their job, Milroe can't run. They're going to lose. And I tell you, man, when Milroe's unable to run the ball, it takes a big part of what he does well off the table. And that's just the way it is, So thank you guys for the super chats. And again, I want to tell you how much we appreciate you. Now, there's a couple things I want to say before we go back to the phone lines. Right now, we're brought to you by mybookie.ag. We got 3 weeks of this promotion, and they make it possible for you guys to hang out with us. But anyway, they got with us. They knew that you wanted to try out some of the other stuff that they got. So right now, 300 deposit bonus. That's 300% deposit bonus for the casino, and 50 free spins when you use the same promo code that we always give you the next round. So take advantage of that. And I promise you, if you like that, you're going to have a lot of spins. So next round, mybookie.ag, and it's fun. Brett, the late, great Big Elmo, Big Sexy Elmo, loved it. Loved playing that stuff. Used to tell me that all the time. All right, back to the phone lines again. Who's this and where are you calling from?
Hey, man, this is Antonio calling from Phoenix City, man, down in Alabama. I was just hearing the chats and stuff and hearing the phone calls. I was just wondering, man, a big thing that I don't see on Alabama's team for the past 2 years or couple of years within those teams that had the championship team, it's that dog mentality, man.
Yeah.
I don't see nobody on the team, no coach, no player, other than Ryan Williams or Jeremy Bernard or Bray Hubbard. Other than those 3 players out of the whole team and the coaching staff, what person have you seen on the team the past 2 years have that dog mentality that we had on a championship team? that's what I feel like was lacking. Nobody really just playing together, man. Like everybody that we had that played on the championship team, they all had one goal, and they all had that dog mentality.
Mm-hmm.
No matter if they were left on the island by themselves, or no matter if they, you know, was in the box with a couple of players, they all had that dog mentality. You know, it ain't no Reuben Fosters out there. It ain't no Reggie Raglins out there.
Right.
It ain't no TJ Yeldon. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Like Jonathan Allen, who I loved.
Yeah, Jonathan Allen.
How about
man,
our friend Jake Coker at quarterback, running over people, throwing the ball
Yeah,
downfield,
man. Like everybody doubted him out.
Yeah.
Everybody doubted him, and he won us a championship.
He wanted to win more for the team than he wanted to win for himself.
Exactly. Jalen Milroe, man, like you said, as much as I love dude, when he playing good, he playing good. But one thing I remember Nick Saban always said, how do you respond to adversity?
Yeah, right.
How did Jalen respond to adversity the past 2 years? He's been a starting quarterback. How did he respond to adversity?
Yeah. You're right.
Moving his legs.
And also, it's not just adversity, Antonio. It's also how has he responded to success? You know, I think that that's been the big issue to me. It hasn't been like I bet you they'll come out next week and they'll be ready to go. You know, because they took another one on the chin. They're not going to want to lose to Auburn. They're going to be paying attention to detail. You know, who knows? But when it comes to success, these guys just can't handle success.
You're right, man. And what I also feel like was Jalen's biggest thing is, don't get me wrong. I know, you know, when you're wrong, you got to admit to your wrongs, and he does do that. But I just feel like he don't want to give up that seat, man. That's the reason why when his back against the wall, we lose a game, he plays great the next game. When he knows his spot is in jeopardy, guess what? He plays great the next game. There's been a couple of runs where he should have handed the ball off that was RPO, that he just decided to run the ball, and it didn't go well. A lot of those runs, it was RPO. I watched the game. It was RPO, run or either pass. And he decided to keep the ball in his hands. Like, he got greedy, and it showed up. You're one-dimensional quarterback, bro. Like, I wish him the best, but I'll be glad when he gone. I really will.
Yeah.
I really will be glad when he's gone, man. Like, I love the dude, but, bro, he one-dimensional. Pete Golden. It just reminds me of the Pete Golden era. Like, just think about when we had what's the coach name? He had I guess he was at Tennessee for a while. Kevin Steele.
Steele. I thought you were gonna say Pruitt. Steele.
Yeah, Kevin Steele. Yeah, Pruitt too. They both had that dog in them.
Yeah,
man.
right.
You know what I'm saying? They had that dog in them. I just don't see it, bro. I just don't see it. And until we get somebody on that coaching staff that can reflect that dog mentality on both sides of the ball, man, we gonna be looking like this, how we look tonight.
Yep.
For a couple more years.
I hope we do, man.
Yeah.
I hope we do. I mean, we're gonna have to crack that. We're gonna have to crack up that NIL. Because, you know, these other schools are going out and they're buying the best players. You know, they're not showing up to play. It didn't like when Saban was here. You know, these guys aren't. I don't see them taking discounts. You know, so. But the transfer portal, you know, man. I think DeBoer can coach. But man, I'll tell you what, this team is not taking well to the success that they have. Because every time they have success, they come back and this happens.
Yep. Kalen DeBoer, he's a good coach, man, but he got to adapt to that Southern hospitality, man. He got to have some dog in him, man. Yeah. Like, if he going to take over Nick Saban's spot, man, like, I know he had to know what he was getting himself into, and I'm pretty sure he did.
Yeah.
But you got to have that grit, bro. You got to have that grit. Like, Listen at Brent Venables. Like, listen at his voice. Look at him and look what he do. He runs with the team. He don't just sit and tell them to run. He run with the team. You know, is what you do on the outside is what reflects on the team. But I don't know. That's just my opinion.
Yeah.
I just feel like he's a little bit too soft.
Yeah.
He's a good coach, though.
We knew it was going to be a change when Coach Saban retired, you know, and and it is, it's obviously a change, so, you got different standards, you got different techniques, and, Coach DeBoer, he'll figure it out, but, it is what it is, man, and every time they get
I
success.
I'll ask you this one more before I get off, man.
Okay.
Who would you rather have, Kalen DeBoer or Lane Kiffin?
I like Lane Kiffin better. I mean, both guys lost today. Yeah. I think DeBoer. I think DeBoer is a good stock. I think long term he's going to be fine. I think that he's out there learning, and that he's playing these teams for the first time. He's seeing these coaches for the first time. He had Michael Penix as a quarterback that could throw the ball. Milroe can throw it, but it's not what it was. They figured out that if they put pressure on him, that he folds, and they're just putting so much pressure on him now that until he figures out what to do with it, they're just going to keep doing it, and it's a weakness. So.
Yeah, Milroe can throw, but I never seen him throw a slant pass.
That's
a
what
slant route, a pig route.
But they didn't catch a lot of those balls tonight, too, man. They dropped them. Tight end dropped them. They're going right through people's hands. Even Ryan Williams dropped passes today. So, I mean, everybody was dropping them.
They did.
That's a shame, man.
They did.
Looking at this, the highlights of this, it's a shame. This is the first time Bama's lost 3 conference games since 2010. So, well, thanks for calling in, Antonio, man. Roll Tide. Thank you.
Roll Tide, man.
All right, great call. Great caller. Clint, before we go back on, any thoughts?
First of all the Ron Williams is transferring comments are I'm as upset as anybody. I know you are too. But are we trying to turn what is currently a short-term problem, potentially could turn into a long-term problem? I'm not saying that it can't, but are you trying to guarantee that it does by literally putting this out there? They say speak it into existence. A lot of people are trying to, for whatever reason, Ron Williams is the target for everybody, where they're trying to, it's like you're trying to push him to the portal, trying to push him elsewhere. It's like, stop with that, man. I get that we're in a sky is falling mentality right now, but that is just, let's not get carried away. If it ends up happening, we'll talk about it. We'll discuss it. But, I mean, the guy loves Alabama. He's having success. He's had some unfortunate breaks, especially tonight. But, I mean, he's making the acrobatic catches. There's no point in doing that. It does absolutely nothing except turn, you could end up speaking it into existence. There's just, people are saying it out of frustration, but the second it happens, they'll be devastated that it happened. It's like, well, don't contribute to it then. I will say, going back to the run game and the fact that they wouldn't commit to the running backs, something last year, I do think that with the way, Oklahoma was playing at home, they had a top 20 run defense in the country. They have been very effective at it. I think Alabama went into this game not believing that they could run the football effectively with their running backs. But here's the thing. It's like last year when Alabama played Georgia in the SEC championship game. After the game, Nick Saban said, after the first drive, we had been going one high safety, putting an extra guy in the box to help stop their run game. And we had zero success doing it. And so the approach was, well, hey, if we're not going to be able to stop their run with an extra guy in the box, then let's just play 2 high safety looks. Let's take somebody out of the box. It sounds counterintuitive, but it's like, you're not stopping them anyways. At least take away, some of what Carson Beck in the passing game is going to want to do. But somehow through that adjustment early in the game, very early in the game, Alabama's defense played more comfortable, and they were more effective stopping the run with only, playing too high safety looks. So my point is that is not something that the coaching staff anticipated going into that game that they would be able to do, is have a lighter box and be more effective stopping Georgia's run game. But they were willing to make that adjustment and try it. Alabama, it felt like they went into this game offensively thinking we're not going to be able to run the football with our running backs. You start doing it a little bit and you're having success doing it. It's like, hey, you probably didn't think you were going to be able to have this success, but kind of start leaning on those guys, make adjustments. I know that wasn't expected, but hey, enjoy the fact that you're able to do it and then play off of that. And you just saw, it felt like Alabama was like, or, the offensive coaching staff was like, no, I mean, we didn't think we were going to be able to do it, so we're not going to stay committed to it. I don't care how much success we're having on limited opportunities. It doesn't make any sense to me, man.
Yeah, no, I hear you. I mean, it just felt like it felt like they were just they were a boat that was taking in water and it was sinking and they just couldn't get it figured out. All right, let's go back to the phone lines again. Thanks for hanging on. Who's this and where you calling from?
This is Garrett from Biloxi, Mississippi.
What's up, Garrett?
Oh, nothing much. I'm just this whole time tonight, I'm sitting here thinking to myself, when Mike Elko was having that press conference, and he had that subliminal, I guess that Freudian slip, of how they were only focused on Texas. And as we all come to find out, clearly that wasn't the case, because Texas A&M lost in quadruple overtime down on the Plains to a now 5-6 Auburn team. So going forward, given the performance tonight, and I think it's already been harped on enough when it comes to Milroe and his performance. I don't think Kane Womack's getting enough heat, if we're being honest. Yeah, his defense played great against as we all know, a terrible LSU offense. Mizzou is just as bad, in my opinion. But anyways, we now, after this performance, are going back to Bryant-Denny to play a Auburn team with, for all they care, momentum, for them to become bowl eligible. This is their national championship. They're fighting to get in the bowl game, and frankly, what I'm concerned about, and what I think everybody else should be concerned about, is we're fighting for our locker room. We got a ton of potential with all these freshmen. I think we all know that, and it's pretty obvious that, considering how the season has now went, there's going to be a lot of suitors to try to snatch them off this team, because, from the outside looking in, Kalen DeBoer is, not pulling his ends of the weight with, back multiple top 5 recruiting classes. So after this performance, if we show up how we did, obviously tonight, against Auburn, and for whatever reason Auburn has flipped the switch last week, I forgot who they played, but they came out with a victory. I don't know who they played. I can't remember off the top of my head. But they beat number 15 Texas A&M in quadruple overtime, and frankly, who's to say they're not going to come into Bryant-Denny and give us the Oklahoma treatment tonight?
Yeah, well, they got their style of football worries me. The running, we just can't stop the run, and they're better to me. Their offense is better than Oklahoma's crappy offense. Oh, yeah, that's right. We threw basically gave them 2 short fields, but we had no answer today for that running attack. I hate to think about next week, man. I just hate
it. And they got, another Dylan Sampson at the reins too when it comes to Darquez Hunter. He's right up there towards the top in the SEC rushing yards. So, and Payne Thorne's not no slouch, scrambling at the QB position either. And, for some reason, the light bulb has gone off in his head and he's playing better than Jalen Milroe.
Yeah.
So I think the biggest problem right now is, forget the postseason, because we all know the preseason expectations are gone. SEC championship is gone. Clearly, our head was in a different space. I think we took the Mike Elko route, and we're too focused on. I don't even know if we were focused on Auburn at this point. But if we don't give it to Auburn in our own home stadium next week, people are going to leave. Honestly, I hope some of these. I don't know about Womack. I think his defensive scheme, give him time, and it could work. But I mean, we got a tight ends coach at OC who doesn't know what the hell he's doing.
And you know what?
This is one of DeBoer's buttons.
Let me bring this up too. I've got a super chat from Bino, and he's like, "How does losing Grubbs hurt?" Remember, he was the offensive coordinator, and then he ended up going to the Seahawks in the NFL. You know what? I mean, you're talking about a first-time offensive coordinator. I mean, and you got the guy that you were supposed to have, or you thought you were going to have, is in the NFL, and the Seahawks have a pretty good offense sometimes.
Yeah, a lot of problems can be boiled down to Sheridan's play calling, but like Jalen Milroe, he's the same as last year, if not worse. I think we've all kind of agreed on that. But if we go into losing guys like Keelan Russell, I feel bad for Ty Simpson, honestly. I feel like he's, kind of stuck it out for the longest. I don't know. Maybe he gets a shot next year, but Milroe comes back. I don't know what's going to happen with the roster, because Ty's going to, with DeBoer's system, who's to say that, he doesn't give Ty the next start whenever, just because he stuck it out the longest. For all we know, he's not the man.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, even that one pass play tonight, he didn't really look too composed on his dump off to Richard Young. But, I mean, that's one play. You can't really judge him off that. But, honestly, I think our biggest problem is keeping the locker room intact, because the mindset's clearly gone for the rest of the season. And in Alabama's eyes, is what do we have to fight for?
Mm-hmm.
The Birmingham Bowl, like.
Well, I saw where they say there's still a 33% chance that they could make the they could make the playoff. Is that gone now?
I mean, no, but it's not happening.
But look at all these other teams that lost, though, Clint. But you're just saying that we wouldn't be ahead of anybody. You don't think it's possible?
I mean, you're talking about 33% sounds absurd to me.
I feel like you need Miami to lose out. You need Notre Dame to lose out. It's just, I don't think that should even be the team's worry now.
Yeah, we just got to win the Iron Bowl, man.
The cards fall where they may.
The cards
fall where they may.
Right. DeBoer's getting an education, and he's about to find out that next week's game is a out-and-out bloodbath. It is a war, and those guys are coming in to win that game. And if you're not ready for it, I don't care who you are, even Coach Saban, they'll get you. It's a game that's like none other. So, Garrett, thanks for the call, brother. Appreciate you so much, man. And roll Tide.
Yeah, appreciate it. Roll Tide.
Yeah, I don't see them making the playoffs. I mean,
so you're going to go ahead and mark them out.
Yeah.
I do want to say this, Clint. Casey Jones, we met Casey Jones when we were at Coastal. Great guy. Wonderful deadhead. Casey Jones riding that train high on cocaine. You know that song? 66 years as a Bama fan, and this is one of the worst losses I've seen. I'm telling you, man, my time too. It's not that it's the reason why I agree with him, Clint, is that the game plan was garbage. The performance was garbage. They lost to a team that's no good. And I mean, where were the adjustments? Like, it was like, hey, everybody get in the box. And we're all just going to run like a jailbreak at the quarterback. and they're going to miss at least 3 of us, and we're going to get there, and then that's going to be what happens. Like I didn't even feel like we never made any adjustments. This was a horrible loss.
One of the things about Brent Venables that he was kind of known for when he was the defense coordinator at Clemson is being able to, I think there's a bad rap for sign stealing, quote unquote. He was kind of known for that at Clemson, but it's not, he was doing it in the way that everybody tries to do it. He was just very effective at it. It wasn't the Connor Stallions, Michigan thing. So people are going to hear sign stealing and think, oh, he's doing something really he's not supposed to. But he was very effective at it. I just wonder, like, that corner on that interception, I guess it was the first one when Kobe Prentice, did what he did, where it felt like he knew exactly what was coming. Now, sometimes guys just know, but there were a couple of plays that I noticed that it just felt like that, the Oklahoma players were so sure. It was either fantastic film study, which is very possible. I don't want to remove that possibility, or maybe, Alabama's doing some stuff to tip what they're doing, whether that be on the field, whether that be, their signs, I don't know. Obviously the in-helmet communication that solves a lot of that. So saying that's the problem probably isn't the case, but just there's something that Oklahoma sold out for some things on a couple of occasions where I was like, man, you knew 100% what was coming, and maybe it was just situational. Maybe it was a Nick Sheridan problem, like you're being too predictable in some of these situations, but they took full advantage. And, that's something that's unfortunate, because, really the way that the second half started with Alabama getting the football, you're really, okay, I would say we're probably the end of the first half, you giving up a touchdown right before the half. That was really unfortunate. But, I mean, things got turned completely upside down because of a couple of interceptions. Not saying that is all on Milroe. In my opinion, the first one was not on Milroe. It was just, piss poor blocking attempt by Kobe Prentice. But, that's really where the game completely changed, and Alabama was trying to climb out of a massive hole. And, just Oklahoma was able to play them. They were already having a lot of success against, their defense against Alabama's offense. But from that point forward, they were able to play Alabama completely differently. And everybody's talking about Proctor and Pritchett and how poorly they played, and they did play extremely poor. But, when it hit that point in the third quarter, you completely went against everything that Alabama's offense is good at. Like, you were just in a deficit and in a situation where it can be first down. You know what Alabama's going to do. That you can pin your ears back, take some chances, and it really started paying off, and they started getting home, and that was a big problem for Alabama.
Yeah. All right, let's go back to the phone lines again. And honestly, really enjoying talking to you guys tonight. Again, 300% deposit bonus for the casino at mybookie.ag. Take advantage of that. 50 free spins using that next round promo code. So guys, take advantage of that. Also, like and subscribe, man. If this is your first time hanging out with us, Roll Tide, man, thank you for being here, and we want you to be part of our channel. It's going to be a lot of great days that are ahead of us. This obviously isn't one of them, but we appreciate y'all being here, and hit the bell so when we drop shows. And we do content every day, so we're and mostly more than every day. So we're on here and we're doing it. We appreciate you guys for hanging out with us. All right, back to the phone lines again. Who's this and where are you calling from?
Hey guys, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Hey, this is Carson from New Orleans. How y'all doing tonight, guys?
Not bad. How about you?
Well, I guess it could be better. Man, I just don't know where to start. It's a tough one. It's probably the worst loss I've seen. I just think I almost feel naive because we saw some of the issues creep back when everything's in front of us. Like early in the season, I thought we had some personnel issues against South Florida that we saw in that first half, that our tackles really can't handle speed. And and I was like, well, we're not going to play a team that really has that personnel, those small guys on the edge that can really cause a matchup nightmare like that for our big guys. And we saw it again, and we struggled with it. They couldn't block anything tonight. And the the eye discipline on defense that we saw in the Vanderbilt game that we thought we cleaned up, but did we really even clean it up? Because no team was going to just come out and all run, you know, like how they did with a few play action passes that hurt us. But, you know, no team offered that against us, and, you know, after that game. So we thought we had cleaned it up, and I really don't think that we did. And as far as Jalen goes, you know, he's good at running the football when it's running the football, and he's good at passing the football when it's passing the football. But he doesn't have any feel, you know, and that's concerned me all season. There's no fluidity to what he's doing. There's no. It's like when it's all together and you're having to mesh it all together in a game, it's like, well, good luck if you can't block. You know, if you can't, man, we just got out physical. We just got out hustled, out skilled, and you know, it's just a disappointing loss. And there's a lot of regrouping. I appreciate you guys' positive outlook about the future. I do think long term we're fine, but I don't know what to say. I don't know what you guys have. If you guys have any thoughts on what I said, but you know, it's tough.
Yeah. Listen, how long have you been? I'm going to ask you this question and then let Clint kind of chew on it. But how long have you been a Bama fan?
20 plus years.
So is this where do you rank this loss?
Oh man, that's tough. I mean, because even in like it's hard because even when Saban first came in and you lose to ULM, it's not so bad because it's the first year and you don't have a roster the same way.
Mm-hmm.
I would put it number one.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I agree with you.
I really would.
Saban freaked out about that game. They fumbled 5 times. They were missing a bunch of players for the books. You know, he was trying to repair a culture that you know was not good from when Shula was there.
Right.
And I didn't feel this. I was at the game. I didn't feel this way leaving. I thought, it stinks. But you know what? We didn't have 4- and 5-star players everywhere. We were like 2- and 3-star guys.
Yeah, and it's a funny story. I'm from Louisiana. Well, we live in Louisiana, and it was my dad's first game going to an Alabama game with Saban as the head coach. His first game he went to was the ULM game.
Oh, geez.
And yeah, and you know, we all felt like, hey, let's just regroup, and we know that there's better days coming. And I know, deep down, I know there's better days coming, but it's like we clawed our way back, and the cards fell in a perfect position to where we controlled our own destiny. And to see us just fall apart, not even fall apart, just not even start. It's just tough. Like, where's the mental acuity to? And it's not like they didn't play hard defensively. Which was the biggest issue, I think. Of course, the turnovers too, but you know, the defensive intensity. You saw players play hard, make hard tackles, and get to the ball. The problem is their eyes got tricked.
Yeah, right.
And it's like, we've been through this.
Yeah,
we've been through this. It's like, guys, and they just got tricked at the point of attack and the misdirections and the options. It's like we just played too aggressive, and I think that's on Kane Womack.
Yep.
And we're too aggressive.
Well, man, thank you for the call. You know, always great to hear from you, and call back next week, man. Roll Tide.
Appreciate it. Roll Tide.
Great call there, Clint. You obviously, I want you to chew on that. Also, Cody's talking about, I think you brought this up too, Clint, why people talking about Ryan Williams leaving. Ryan Williams is not going anywhere. Just relax.
First off, I want to say and clarify from earlier what I said about Brent Venables. It's known that he was accused on multiple occasions of stealing signs. But stealing signs isn't always cheating. Like if you go about, it's like kind of
like baseball. Look, I'm in baseball. Like if somebody's flashing the catcher's flashing signs.
If you're making it
I yell out to, I have a code and I'm telling the batter what's coming. That's on you for not hiding it.
Yeah, and so I'm not saying that he did anything Connor Stallions, Michigan, sending guys to, games to literally steal signs. Like, I don't want anybody to get confused here. I'm actually giving him a nod because I think based off what Oklahoma was doing, they knew some of the things that were coming for Alabama. And that's either film study or that is your ability to steal some of their signs. But like I also corrected and I said, it's harder to steal signs nowadays when you're doing the in-helmet communication. So, I mean, the signs aren't really being used as much. It's used differently. So that's not my point is that Brent Venables is a phenomenal defensive mind. He's always had success in these types of games, or at least against Alabama when he was at Clemson. And we knew that they had talent, here at Oklahoma. And so just for Alabama, the fact that they got behind like they did, I still think they're in good shape for the future, but there's some worrying signs, I guess is the way that I'll put it.
All right, let's go back to the phone lines again. And you guys that have held on with us, man, we appreciate you so much. Thank you for doing that. Who's this and where you calling from?
Hey, what's up, guys? It's Big John, Fort Payne. How y'all doing?
What's up, dude?
Yo,
shed some light on this situation, please, Big John.
Well, you know what? I mean, we could talk about a lot of different things in this game, but I just don't feel like I feel like we come in with a game plan, and if that game plan don't work, we just stick with it. Like, I don't see any in-game adjustments. I mean, at the beginning of the game, first couple series, you're thinking, okay, they're just going to, stop Jalen from running the ball, which is understandable. I mean, you got to make them beat you, doing something else. And like, we did not help our guys out at all. And like, they're stacking the box. There was this play. It was early in the game where Ryan Williams caught the touchdown, the first one, and he stepped out of bounds. And when I was watching the play, something kind of like triggered me, and I was like, okay, let me rewind this. And I rewound it, and they're playing with like 6, 7, 8 guys in the box. And so the play snaps and they rushed forward, and they had 2 spies like doing nothing but just waiting for Jalen to break out of the pocket. And I'm thinking like, okay, if I'm seeing this, the coach has got to see it. So let's expose this. Let's start, hitting shallow underneath, quick hits, something. Because all they were doing was just stacking the box. And we ran Jalen so many times in that first half. It was ridiculous. I mean, I didn't see any adjustment. It was very frustrating. And then to see that they, on defense, we're playing with 3 down linemen, and then Quay Russaw, he's playing up, and we're not stacking the box because all they're doing is running their quarterback practically. So it was just frustrating that you weren't seeing any adjustments. I mean, I don't know. What do you think? Like, help me out here. Help me understand this, because come the second half, I couldn't even get upset anymore, because throughout the season, you would see some of the same things, even in, some of the wins like South Carolina, there was that frustration in the game, and
right.
You didn't see adjustments, and
Hey,
yeah,
Big John,
tough.
I'm going to let Clint chew on that one. And thank you for calling. Always good to hear from you, brother. And I've talked, I don't know football like Clint does. They looked like county high teams that I used to call games for, where we're like, now I'm talking about Oklahoma, and then our game plan, I don't even know what it's like watching that. You're going, okay, they don't have any wide receivers. Like, and then like they don't have any wide receivers. The quarterback's gonna run.
Exactly.
No, it's not the running back, it's the quarterback. Oh man,
And we're only playing with like, do we not have the ability to play big boy football on defense? Like, if you know a team's going to be physical up front and run the ball, like, and we're still in 3-down linemen, our linebackers are kind of playing off, Sometimes we would sneak up Hubbard and stuff like that. But I mean, like, at some point, like, I'm not trying to compare, coaching staffs, but like Saban, he would always say, like, sometimes you just got to play big boy football when you play like, someone like in Arkansas or something like that is going to run the football. So I just did not see that at all.
No, I didn't, man.
Great
call.
It was frustrating.
Yeah, great call, Big John. And roll tide,
yeah,
brother.
I appreciate y'all and enjoyed the show, man. Roll Tide.
Thank you, man. Good to hear some of you guys that call in each week, man. Love to hear from you. Clint, you chew on that a little bit. And we're going right back to the phone lines again. But just, like you as a guy that's knows football like you do, why didn't we adjust? Like what's going on? Do you think it's just that this is our Achilles heel? Is this option stuff?
Well, I mean, okay, so it felt like at the beginning of the second half, and a lot of this stuff, like you kind of get wrapped up in everything that's going on watching it live. A lot of this I always have to go back and check. But it seemed like Oklahoma knew that Alabama was going to adjust to their run game or try to adjust to it. And they were ready to make Alabama pay as far as some play action stuff off of that. So early in the second half, there were probably like, maybe it was 2 out of 3 plays, maybe it was back-to-back plays, maybe it was 3 out of 4, but it seemed like they strung together, a couple of play action passes. But at the same time, Jackson Arnold only attempted 11 passes in the game, and I think 7 of them were in the first half. So first of all, that is an insane number. 11 passes. Now, granted, Jalen Milroe attempted 18 against LSU, and they blew LSU out. I mean, in fact, in these types of games, I guess it is like the less you have to pass, the better off you are. But Oklahoma was in LSU's, or they were in Alabama situation when they went to Baton Rouge and played LSU, in the sense of they went to it early to make Alabama continue to respect it just enough where Alabama constantly kept in mind Oklahoma is going to try to do, if we commit too much, they're going to play action off of it. No, there's going to be a lot of things that are open, and just from a responsibility standpoint, the triple option, it is a disciplined style of like, you have to play disciplined if you're a defender. If you've got quarterback, you've got to take quarterback. If you've got dive, if you've got, pitch man, all of these different things, guys, you have to trust them to do their jobs consistently. And we just, for one reason or another, I think there was a lack of adjustments, but I also think it was just pure lack of execution by a lot of the players. So for the people who want to blame the coaching staff, I think there's plenty of evidence of that. For the people who want to blame players, there's plenty of evidence for that as well. There's just what's concerning to me is that I'm thinking about this, and I'm like, okay, let me come up with something, a player, a position group that I feel played well. Maybe Jeremy Bernard. I do think the running backs, for the most part, played well. I thought they were pretty good, in some pass protection opportunities, but just a lot of mistakes. And what's crazy is these kind of games, when Alabama's found itself in these kind of games, not a blowout, you haven't really seen that too much, but it's been like stupid stuff like penalties, right? I mean, it's like you get 15 penalties, you keep shooting yourself in the foot. Alabama had 4? So, I mean, it's just this is one of the strangest games that I can ever remember. People talk about it being the worst loss ever. I would need some time to kind of, simmer on that and think about it for a while to decide one way or the other. But I will say this is one of the strangest games I can ever remember watching.
Yeah, great point. Strange is a great point. All right, back to the phone lines again. Who's this and where are you calling from?
I'm George from Chapel Hill, North Carolina.
What's up, George?
Not a lot. Just want to talk about a couple things. First, the officiating, not that it cost us the game tonight, because it certainly did not, but it is throughout the whole conference. It's so bad. Why does a billion-dollar industry, which the SEC is, why do we not have full-time paid officials that we can hold accountable?
Good question, man. I agree with you more than you agree with you.
I mean, that's the whole thing is, like, I don't understand. Like, so they're never going to have to answer to this. And I believe if the announcers were correct tonight, this is the same coaching staff, the same officiating crew that now allows us to throw water bottles onto the field so that we can get the game held up, so that we can look at the scoreboard to see if they got the call right.
Well, we would have thrown them at them if
that
we could have. I would have thrown one at them. Hey, George, I would have
gladly
gladly thrown a water bottle at those guys, or two, or three, or a cup. I mean, that was no wonder they got water bottles thrown at them. They stink. Sorry.
Well, it's the whole thing. Kirk Street complained because they did it 2 weeks ago. They threw it out. They're like, oh, what is everybody doing? Well, they're doing it because this officiating staff let it happen years ago or weeks ago, and now it happened, and now they've done this tonight. Now, and it did not cost us the game tonight, but it is one more time. Why does a billion-dollar SEC not pay officials and then hold them accountable and fire their ass when they screw it up like they did tonight?
Who knows what goes on behind the scenes, but something needs to, right? I mean, how do you, like, of all the damn penalties that that they normally F up, how about making up one? Like, have you ever watched a football game where they took a touchdown back because the receiver wasn't on the line of scrimmage? Clint, have you ever seen one?
No, I mean,
have you ever seen one, George? I've never seen one. And that was like a bomb. I mean, it wasn't like a 5-yard pass.
Well, the other thing is, it's not like it was somebody trying to make something that you're making a decision that maybe it was pass interference, maybe it wasn't. This is a rule. I mean, they should know the rule. I mean, that's what blows me away. I mean, it is a rule that they got wrong, and they got it wrong in every situation. They threw the flag before it should have been thrown or after it should have been thrown. I mean, they just messed it up all the way around. But these people, there should be some accountability, because we will never hear their name. We will never hear that they made a mistake. We'll never hear another thing about it. And so, like, every time the SEC says, it means more, well, from officiating, we deserve more. We deserve more than that.
Dude, you are making every point that I 100% believe in. Clint, you second that notion?
Yeah, there's not a doubt in my mind. I mean, and
Clint's seconding it right now. George, finish up so that Clint can second your motion here.
Yeah, no, that was the other thing. The only other thing I'll say, and so I listen to the Roundtable all the time and love listening to them, and especially with Lance. And Lance always talks about Malzahn and how he always finds 4 losses. And I love Jalen Milroe. He is an exceptional athlete, far better athlete than everybody finds. And no loss is ever just on him, but he will find 4 bad games. And as much as I love him and for all the things that he does, at some point he is now who he is. And I do believe it is time for us to find that next guy. Now, who that is, what that is, all those things, I think that we deserve, to find that next guy too. But that was kind of the last thing I wanted to say. But really appreciate you guys.
Hey, thanks for the call, George, and Roll Tide, man. Great call. I mean, like you, Clint, I think he made a better point than me. And if somebody's paying me to be here to make that point today. So that means George, that's all American call stuff right there.
I mean, I have such a hard time with it, because if you focus too much on like the ref side of it, then people feel like you're taking away from everything Oklahoma did well. We'll start there. because there's a lot of it and everything that Alabama did wrong. And there's a lot of that too. But at the same time, you have to be able to acknowledge that you can't say that they didn't have any sort of impact or outcome on the game, because at the bare minimum, Nick Saban lost games by 14 points. It happened multiple times. He only lost by 21 points or more once, and that was 44-16 or whatever it was against Clemson in the national championship game. Yeah. So just that one play, if it gets called correctly, it's Alabama scores a touchdown in this game. Alabama pulls it within 14 points. If nothing else happens from that point forward, it is viewed differently. Because you're admitting that or saying that, are you saying that it's all the refs' fault and Alabama, deserved to win and Oklahoma didn't deserve to win? No, I mean, you can, multiple things can be true at once. And that's exactly what happened here. Alabama played as bad as you can possibly play. But on the flip side of that, Oklahoma had a game plan going in. They saw what Alabama had screwed up against Vanderbilt and against some of these other teams, the shovel pass. They said, hey, let's throw that in there multiple times. Alabama hadn't been very good at defending that. That's great coaching. That's a great game plan going in. You're talking about on the other side of the football, the way that they frustrated, Alabama's offense and were able to position themselves through interceptions and giving their offense good field positions to be up to where they could pin their ears back and use their speed edge rushers against Alabama's subpar pass protectors, at tackle. That is something that Oklahoma did that you got to give them a ton of credit for. Like this isn't, we can talk about multiple things here. Just because we bring up something doesn't mean we're blaming it all on that. That's the only factor. We're covering everything right now.
Mm-hmm. They did a good job. Casey Jones, another $10. Yeah, Big Elmo would have been throwing whiskey bottles onto the field tonight. I would have been right there with him. He didn't drink whiskey, though, because he said it made him crazy. So it would have been somebody else's whiskey bottle, but a beer. He liked beer. Yeah, I'm with you, man. And thank you. Missed that guy. All right, who's this and where you calling from?
Hey, my name is Zach. I'm calling from Norman, Oklahoma, actually.
Okay. Are you a Bama fan?
I am a hardcore Bama fan. I was born and raised in Alabama. I moved out here in 2011 to do meteorology at OU.
Oh, cool.
And I know a lot's going, what did Alabama do wrong? What could they have done this and that different? I've got to talk about the opponent here for a second, because I don't think, obviously the players didn't understand, but the hatred for Alabama in this state is unbelievable. I mean, when I first got here and they would find out, oh, you're from Alabama, I would get that look. I would get it's just it gets under everybody's skin here. I've taken it back to the 2014 game, when they got lit up. I know this is a different coach, different personnel. It's that same. I don't like to use the word hatred because I don't want to get flagged for anything, but that's what it is in Oklahoma for Alabama. I mean, these people honestly feel like, they've been sitting out here for 14 or 15 years since Alabama started taking over in dominance, thinking that should be them because they're in the wrong conference, or they had been in the wrong conference up until the SEC. I could have told you that if Alabama doesn't go in playing their A++ game, they will get whipped. I don't care how Oklahoma looked against South Carolina. I don't care how Oklahoma looked against Texas. I don't care about how they looked against Ole Miss. If Bama came into this game anything less than how they performed against LSU, they were going to get beat. I mean, I even thought at the closest game, if Alabama played their best game, that this could be close. It could be like a 27-20 type game, because I knew OU was going to bring it. They were going to bring it. They were going to bring things that we haven't seen all year. And it wasn't this show. There was another show I called into earlier in the week, and I said, I hope these players are understanding. I know it's cliche to hear Alabama gets everybody's best shot. It's like that with everybody, and it's true, but it's on a different level with Oklahoma. And I just don't know that it's understood how deep the hatred for Alabama is here. I mean, they're going to play you harder than anybody. They're going to play Alabama harder than Auburn will play Alabama, and Alabama's going to wonder where in the F did this come from. And it's there's a Walmart here on I-35 in Oklahoma, and in the electronics section where they sell their TVs, that Sugar Bowl from 2014 has been playing nonstop. So if you go in there, you know how they have, different TV shows and they've got different stuff on different TVs. Every single TV in that electronics section, every single day, it's the Sugar Bowl from 2014 playing over and over again.
Jeez.
Or at least it was up until 2 weeks ago.
Really?
Now they'll probably do this game.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
that offense is so bad, though. Zach, I watched that offense, and I'm like, how did we not figure that out? It was terrible.
2 weeks. That's what it was. 2 weeks to prepare, 2 weeks of watching. I said on that other I hate to keep going back to that show, but I said that they're going to find offense. They're going to. I'm telling you, whatever it is. And I suspected it would have to do with the run game because they have no passing game. So, and I thought, well, okay, our running defense has been getting better, but our run defense has been getting better, but I knew they were going to do something. I knew it. And
right.
When I could have the first 10 minutes, the way Alabama's body language, the way they were, I could have told you then that we're going to lose this game, even when somebody looked at me and said that I'm crazy.
Yeah,
like,
right.
no, I know Oklahoma.
Yep.
I know this. I know.
Bama read all the clippings, man. They read them all. They're going to be in the college football playoff. They're going to be in the SEC championship game. They're going to roll out. They're going to walk out there like they did in Nashville and take care of business. And they just weren't prepared.
Exactly.
They weren't coached well. They didn't play well. It's everybody's fault. Kicking was bad. Yeah. At least the punting was bad. How about Ryan Williams trying to field that one kick on the 1 yard line for some reason? Like, it was just like watching it. Honestly, it was like watching high school kids for a little bit.
Yeah, I think at that point his mind was so rattled he didn't know what he was thinking. But yeah, that Bob Stoops Kool-Aid, he just beat it into those kids. Anti-SEC, anti-Alabama. I mean,
right.
Even though it's different kids now, different crew, that culture resonates in this town. I'm telling you, every year Alabama has got to understand what they're going to get with Oklahoma. It's going to be a war, and
you're right.
It's going to be unlike any that we'll face it. When was the last time Alabama got beat this bad?
I don't know.
It's been, that's the hatred that Oklahoma has for Alabama. And Alabama has to expect that every year.
Yep.
And if they're not going in hair on fire, you're going to get a similar result as while Oklahoma's in the SEC.
Yeah. Well, great call, Zach and Norman, and an Alabama fan. I'm sorry that you're probably going to take a little heat, but just tell them, hey, man, when's the last time you guys won a championship? And then that
absolutely.
And even though they beat Alabama pretty convincingly today, they still stink. But they're still not any good. Like watching that quarterback run every play like a high school team. Oh, come on, man. Like we got to do better. But hey, thanks for the call, brother. Appreciate it, man.
Okay, you have a good night if you can.
You too. Yeah, doing my best. From out and how about that, Clint? A call from out in Norman. Like, he's a Bama fan, Zach, but he lives in Norman, and he's going to be taking some heat now. He's going to take a beating for a while.
I hate it for him. That's a real bad place to be when you lose a game like this, because Oklahoma has bragging rights that not too many do. You kept Alabama from making it to the playoffs in a 12-team playoff, so there were more opportunities to make it. But you're a 5-5 football team, and you beat Alabama by 3 touchdowns. You held Alabama to 3 points. You turned Alabama over 3 times. You had them making mistakes they typically don't. Well, I wouldn't say they don't make them. I mean, they kind of do. But it's I don't even know. I know that the season Yeah, for a lot of people, okay, it's over. You really can't. It's playoffs or bust for 99.9% of Alabama fans, and playoffs, in my opinion, are no longer on the table. But at the same time, I think as far as getting things right, continuing to move in the right, getting back in a situation where you're moving in the right direction. Some of these younger players, I'm not saying throw the season away, start benching all the older, benching Malachi Moore because he can't come back next year, seeing what you got in some of those younger players. I'm not saying any of that stuff. You want to beat Auburn. You want to throw everything you can at Auburn because I think they're playing really good football right now. You want to make it to whatever bowl game you get, and you want to represent the university and have things moving in the right direction moving forward. But I do think that that there's some of these younger guys like a Caden Proctor who's a sophomore, and so he's not leaving unless he enters the transfer portal for whatever reason. Nothing would lead me to believe that's going to happen. But it's like him. Hey, how do I continue to get better? How do I get more comfortable in some of these situations where I'm maybe not at my best? It's receivers like Ron Williams, who is such a major part of the offense, but there are things even that a guy like that can do better. But the team's got to come together at this point and have that right now, have some pride, because at this point I don't feel like the pride has really been there. I feel like it's been more of overconfidence, buying into the Kool-Aid, doing all those things. And I still think there's you're not going to be able to achieve what you wanted to achieve, but you can at least start getting some of these things corrected for 2025.
All right, back to the phone lines again, and appreciate you guys for calling in and hanging out with us. Who's this and where you calling from?
Uncle Charles, man, what's happening?
Oh, Uncle Charles, man. Cheer me up.
Well, yes, sir. I'm going to say this, and I'm going to be done with him. Get on out of here for Satan take over this phone. Let me tell you something, man. We had a prime opportunity to take care of business. Let me explain to you why. Here's this man. This man was cooking a pot of beans, fat back, bacon bits, everything did. But 2 miles down the road, it was a man that didn't have no home. The aroma went as far as it could go, and it hit that man in the nose. So that man, by him not having anything, he followed that smell all the way to that man's front door. And he knocked on the door. He said, "Excuse me, sir. I don't mean no harm, but can you share some of those beans with me? Because I'm hungry. I haven't had anything to eat." And the man said, "Get out of my door. I never want to see you again." And he shut the door in the man's face. The man walked away with his head down. He walked for a whole block, and the man was crying. But sooner or later, that man cried, his cry turned to anger. And that man turned around and went back to that door. But this time, it was a harder knock. Boom, boom, boom. And the man opened the door. And he hit him in the head, knocked him out, went in there, took the beans, and went down the road and ate them. What I'm trying to tell you is that man that was cooking those beans had an opportunity to share those beans. But when he didn't, he got knocked out. This is what I'm saying. This is the analogy on this thing. We had an opportunity, and we got knocked out. This is why you don't play like you're playing, and then you go out the next week and you act like you don't know what you're doing. The man had an opportunity. The man that ate the beans, set on the side of the road, he only felt bad about the man he knocked out when he was done with those beans, not while he was eating them. This is what I'm saying. When you have an opportunity in life, you have to take advantage of it. You have to take advantage of full go. And this is what I'm saying is, now I can tell you two guys are very smart men. You put your shoes on yesterday, now didn't you? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Did you forget how to put them on this morning? Okay then. So how in the world can you forget how to play football this week, but you know how to play last week? It's no excuse for what happened. And that everybody's saying, well, they should be fired. Maybe so. But I'm going to tell you this, and I'm going to say this in closing. We all have an opportunity to take advantage of certain things in life. And what we don't get a chance to do is complain about it when we don't. Alabama had a prime opportunity to do what they needed to do, and they didn't. and now you will suffer the consequences. Let me explain something to you in closing. I do not turn a program on my TV unless I'm ready to watch it. Because if I don't like it, I'm going to be asleep. And I'm going to stay asleep until I wake up. It is what it is. Now, you can mess around with Auburn if you want to. And that eagle will be flying in the air with a smile on his face, and you be done lost again. Either learn how to stand up or learn how to lay out. And that's all I got to say. I appreciate y'all.
Hey, Uncle Charles, man, you know you're one of my favorite callers. Roll Tide. Appreciate you.
Yes, sir.
Unc. Getting a call from Unc.
Can we get Uncle Charles to give a pregame speech?
You coming over here for these beans?
Hey, the beans are the key, man. The analogies.
I love notes every week because I'm always like, you know this, Clint. I do baseball play-by-play. Like you're on for hours, and I'll do stuff like that. And I wonder, like, when, like people are like, what is he trying to say? And then it's like, oh, there it is. Uncle Charles is so funny, man. I love that guy.
Every time he calls, he takes us for a journey. I don't, and I have no idea where he's taking us, but we always end up at a destination. There's no doubt about it.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny. What a great call. All right, let's go back to the phone lines again. You guys are hanging. We're going to put you on the air. Who's this and where you come from?
Hey, this is Tobias calling for Phoenix. Long-time listener, first-time caller.
Yeah, man, I know you from the message board. How you doing?
Good. All right. All right, let's start with this, right? I did not have playoff/national title expectations because of what this team lost, and they weren't able to add anything until the spring portal window, and that's like eating liver for dinner. Well, that's all you got. But also, I'm just being real. And people talk about they don't like Kalen DeBoer. The only other realistic option, because Dan Lanny's not even arguing with that NIL program they have there, and he's a Big Ten, was Mike Norvell. And Alabama's not hiring a coach who lost 66-3. And he's a dumpster fire right now. Year one, and this, when you lose all those players to the portal before the man even landed there, and then you lost some recruits also, then the people graduated transfer, your depth is severely limited. Now, do I think Kane Womack's that good? Most likely not. But I do think that we have to be patient here. We have to be realistic here. Just because the blue chip ratio doesn't mean that these guys are necessarily blue chip. It means these guys are being put in the fire who shouldn't even be playing. I'm not making excuses for you being real. But I have to be honest about one thing as well. People hate when I say this. I said this in a message board months ago. Jalen Milroe's on two different head coaches now. 3 OCs on counting Bill O'Brien. And we're still making the same complaints, and we're still making the same excuses. I know people love to say, why you don't do this, why you don't call this? Coaches watch practice every day.
Right.
And they know what a player can and can't do. I just don't think that he has the ability to bail a team out if they don't have it. I know the offensive line didn't have it, guys. But if you want to be an NFL quarterback, that pocket stays muddy. It's always muddy. And you see the guys make a way. And I thought that since obviously he didn't have it, especially that second pick, maybe just give him a seat for a series or two. Texas did it, even though they still lost the game, but you gave him a seat. And it's like, and my last thing, I'll say this real quick, I don't want to take up all your time. People got to understand, Alabama is a program like Ohio State, like Georgia, where if you're competent, you win in 10 games. Cal McCord won 10, they ran him out.
Right.
Of Ohio State. And I'll say this one thing I forgot. There might be a bus flip out here with this roster in the portal. Some guys, they going to say, hey, have a good one. And they'll bring a lot of guys in that may fit. Mm-hmm. But remember, Nick Saban had to let what they do, like Major Applewhite, go after one season. Sometimes that he has to sit back and evaluate things. But we got the guys. I'll leave it at that. Keep doing the good work as always.
Hey, Tobias, great to hear your voice, man. Thanks for being part of our channel, and Roll Tide.
Roll Tide.
Great call there. All right, well, let's do one more. Who's this and where you calling from?
Hey, Nick. Nick, it's Thundar. I'm calling you from
What's up?
Oklahoma. Hey, man, I just drove 2 hours back from Norman after that. Took my wife out there for that game. And that was, I mean, you could, that environment, those fans, they were excited. They were ready for us. And we looked very reactive. We did not look like we were ready to go. And I've been listening to the show the whole way back, all the way back on YouTube. Apparently they have really good signal here in Oklahoma.
Yeah, I like that. Thank you.
Yeah. And, you know, I was working in the yard today before we left to go out there because, you know, we had to wait for the sitter to get here. And I was listening to some of the past shows. And, you know, even when I was at the game some, I'm looking at Twitter a little bit and I'm seeing all the comments and I swear, you know, I have my issues with some of the players. I have my issues with some of the coaches. And I think Antonio brought it up about, you know, some of the decision making when you probably should hand the ball off as opposed to trying to take it on your own. I think that's an issue. And I've asked this question before, and I think Clint talked about it a little bit earlier on the way when I was listening. He said, you know, what is it that we can't keep with the run when we're having some success with it? I just don't understand it. Like, we were getting yardage, but you can't just give up just because you only get 2 yards on one run. I mean, and, you know, at the half, that even when they were up, at the half, you know, I'm sitting next to a guy, he's an Oklahoma fan. We were surrounded by Oklahoma fans. It was all Oklahoma fans around us. We sat on the wrong side of the stadium, I think. But, yeah, you could just feel it. Like they were, and I knew it. They let them hang around.
That's how you lose.
We took that lead at first.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, that's exactly it. You let them build confidence. You let that crowd get more and more excited, and you could just see it. Like they looked like they were not. You know, I saw like 3 or 4 plays where we tackle the running back and Arnold's got the ball. And honestly, I don't think they knew he had the ball on some of those. Like, it was like he was faking that he was faking the handoff so well. It looked like they thought that the running back actually had the ball. And yeah, I don't know. I don't know what the solution is. I'm not a X's and O's guy like Clint. But I don't know why a 5-star running back would want to come to Alabama with this kind of offense.
Well, if they don't want to give him the ball.
I mean, it's like, right, yeah, you don't run the football. I mean, what, do you want to be a great blocking back? I mean, great. All right, maybe we'll go out and get a bunch of, Tom Rathmans or something from back in the day in San Francisco, you know?
I remember him.
I don't know, but like, yeah, like, why would you want to do that unless you're just trying to up your blocking game? Because, like, I don't see – I mean, I feel like we're wasting these guys. And I can't believe there's not at least a little bit of like bitterness by some of these guys about the fact that they're not getting the touches.
Yeah, right.
I mean, you spend your whole time out there blocking, and then the quarterback snatches the ball when it's your one time to shine.
Yeah, right.
You know, I mean, it looked bad. Anyway, I'll hang up so you guys can get to the next callers and talk. But yeah, that was pathetic. And you know, hey, you're welcome. And you know, I've lived out here for 10 years, and I was at Alabama during the what I call the bad years, the Franchione to Shula era.
Oh, I was there. Hey,
and
I was there right there with you. We stunk. And we didn't play like this.
Class with, no. I mean, I think we had 2 10-win seasons in my 4 years.
Yeah,
there,
they did.
You know, from 02 to 6. So
yeah.
And so, you know, even during the bad years, it was, I don't know. There's something about this. And I'm not going to jump on the, like, fire this guy or bench this guy or whatever. But But I just don't. Because like I don't know. I do try to believe that the coaches see it. Like I really do try to believe the coaches know what's going on and they know what to do. But I don't know if it's a culture thing at some level. You know, I think Clint was talking about it one of y'all's past shows about leaders leading, and people have to lead. And but somebody else brought up that the standard. You know, the standard is like just something people say.
Right.
The Bama standard it just seems to me like it's something people say, like what somebody else brought up, you know, you just talk about it. It's just empty words, you know, like that's something you either live or you don't.
Mm-hmm.
And it looked bad. And I hate that, you know, the Oklahoma fans I met they're really nice people, but you know, I really wanted to beat them.
Yeah, of course.
Living here for 10 years.
Yeah.
I really wanted to beat them, but yeah. Anyway, I wish you guys the best, and I'll get back on the chat. Y'all take care.
Yeah, thanks,
Bye.
man. Thanks, Dundar. You know, he's a guy that's hit us with super chats in the past, been a big part of our channel, and all you guys that, you know, we see in the chats and that are interactive. We appreciate you guys so much. And if you're new here, you haven't hung out with us before, like and subscribe, give us a thumbs up, you know, be part of our channel. CoverCrimson.com. Clint's over there. He's going to have a lot of fun going through the snaps from this game.
Don't you put words in my mouth, Nick. I ain't gonna have fun doing nothing. No, I'm gonna do it. We're gonna grind through it, man. First of all, Lance, you know, I love it. I love the thought. I'm more of a Wahoo guy myself, I'm a Waffle House guy. You know, 3 a.m.
Like
if we're still going strong, you know, we might hit a Wahoo or something. Going back to his call, first of all, great call. It's like, I feel like for Alabama's offense, Jalen Milroe's legs, they're so dynamic. They're such an element, but it can become a crutch where it's just kind of because it's hard to defend when you get the +1 in the run game and do all those things. It just you tend to lean on that a little bit too much. I think I don't know if Jalen Milroe is going to be back in 2025 or not. I really don't. I don't think that he is. Maybe I'm wrong, and we'll reevaluate when that time comes. But for the running backs and stuff, like if you have any other quarterback currently on the roster, maybe, you know, Ty Simpson, for example, he didn't have Jalen Milroe's mobility to that extent, where he's going to be a guy where you ask him to handle volume in the run game. He's going to extend plays. He's going to take off every once in a while. You're going to have, you know, he might get the Jackson Arnold treatment a little bit, and you know, at least early in games, maybe throw a defense off that's not expecting it and do all that. But if you want to run the football when a quarterback like Ty Simpson is in the game, you have to focus on running it with your running backs. You have to give them those opportunities. You know, you talk about throwing the football around. It's more of a complementary style. Like when you have a quarterback like a Ty Simpson or, you know, a Dylan Lonergan or someone else, you have to play more complementary as far as what you're calling. It's sometimes when you have a Jalen Milroe, sometimes he's being asked because of game script to throw the ball 40, 50 times.
Right.
You know, but at the same time, based off a game script too, it is also possible, like against LSU, where he throws it 18 times, but he runs for 4 touchdowns and he has a ton of rushing opportunities.
Yeah.
And so there's never really a part of a game script that you're not able to funnel through him. And so I think for like you know, if you're Jam Miller, you're Justice Haynes, if Jalen Milroe is not back next year, one of the selling points is, you know, even Keelan Russell, like he's a mobile guy, and he's very dynamic as far as being a runner, but he's able to win from within the pocket more. He wants to win from within the pocket. He's got a little bit more Michael Penix in him, in my opinion. And so I think even having him and having that extra element with the mobility, maybe not, you don't want to probably hand him 15, 20 carries like you would Jalen Milroe, because Jalen Milroe is a well put together guy. He can handle that beating in the SEC. You know, Keelan Russell might not be that guy, especially early on when he's, you know, a little bit lighter. He might never be that guy, but you know, I think anybody that you're going to have moving forward, just because Jalen Milroe is such a specific style of player and the skill set is so you know, different than really anything that you see. It doesn't come around too often, that I think it's kind of, I wouldn't say it's handcuffed the offense necessarily. It's really provided some opportunities in a lot of ways, but at the same time, for other guys, it's really handcuffed their role moving forward. If Jalen Milroe is not the quarterback, you're going to see the running backs get a lot more opportunities. You're going to see the receivers get a lot more opportunities.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's kind of like and we appreciate you, Cody, for the super chat, man. Thank you so much. Just talking about the other quarterbacks, and I think that it's that they came to the dance with Milroe. They're going to leave the dance with Milroe, but after this season, I think it's wide open, and I wouldn't be surprised if he's staying in college if he doesn't transfer. I wouldn't. I mean, maybe he stays. I don't know, but I just don't think. I think Ty Simpson and these other guys are going to be, battling for that job. And, he's been there, and we, it hadn't gone well. It's gone well some, but I don't know. You know what? We saw it tonight. Let me look at this guy right here, Clint. Now that we've taken some calls and we've been on for 2 hours and 40 minutes with you guys, look at this dude right here making his debut. Put him up there. He goes by Rob Michael, but I call him Robbie. Let me give you your microphone. You on there?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, that's my nephew, and he's technically a junior at Alabama, Clint, but he's doing it the exact opposite way that I did, where I went 7 years and had the best 7 years of my life. This guy's a junior, and he's 18. He came to school with like 60 some credits.
What, are you sure he's your nephew?
Yeah.
Are you sure you're related? It sounds like you were a little bit more on my track with the college thing. And that wasn't out of necessity necessarily. Part of that was just, let's keep this train rolling, man. We're having a good time, hanging with the boys. So let's just see how long we can let's see how much student loan debt we can rack up. That's kind of my mentality.
No, he got a full ride. I was like,
hey, you could go 19 years if you can, man. Be mine and Mick's age and still be doing the Van Wilder this thing, man. Why not?
I would have done. So as a student at Alabama, current student, you give me your perspective on what you saw tonight.
I mean, coming into this is my first season I've ever watched, first season of college football. So it is really weird. I don't have any past experience to compare to the team. But I think, we've said it best. We played like absolute shit. I think Milroe, I compare him a lot to Lamar because, we come from Maryland. But, he couldn't find the pocket. That's all we saw. We sat there and watched the game together. But it was just an absolute bloodbath. We couldn't run anything. It kind of felt like the Georgia game. The Georgia game, I feel like we only won because we went up so much in the first. But past that, they just stopped us and then stomped. There's nothing much else to say. From my perspective, I think it's the same as yours. I just don't have anything really to compare it to. I wasn't here for the Saban reign, sadly.
You missed it. That was like, I'll tell you what, and Clint and the rest of you guys can back me up on this, but it was one hell of a party. We didn't lose like this. And for a long time, we whooped the shit out of teams. Well, and now, and I'm sorry, Clint, I'm just telling the young man. But
you're educating. I get it.
It's not like that anymore. Like, he got here after the party. Now the party is like, we lose to Vanderbilt.
The party's like when you're 34 years old or you're 38 years old, you're still trying to hang on to the glory days. Yeah, I hear you, brother.
Hey, Ryan Anderson was in here. He was on our show with Coker, Elephant in the Room, and he goes, man, now I'm one of these guys like these Bear Bryant guys. He said that last year when Saban retired, living the glory days. And you guys know this. For those of you that were in school with me, it was like Thundar, it was like we would talk about Bear Bryant, well, Bear Bryant, we used to win, and then Thundar's by. I see him right in here, man. And you know what I mean, Thundar. And then all of a sudden we it was like every year we would have very high expectations, and we had the Oklahoma team. That's what we were when we were in school. We could beat Alabama. That's not one of Alabama's premier teams, right? But we're going to lose a bunch of games we're supposed to win. And that's where Saban was really amazing, is because and what was that quote that Steve, our friend Steve, was telling us tonight?
Steve was saying either you have discipline or you have disappointment. You have to focus on one of them, but either way, if you focus on discipline, you won't get disappointed. But if you don't focus on discipline, you'll be disappointed regardless.
Yeah, right. Basically, he was just saying like the Saban's success was discipline, and it was, which is what I feel like is one of the problems with this team. I said that before. Like it's been it's been on the top of my list of problems with these guys.
And we knew this was going to happen. As soon as Nick Saban retired, we knew that whoever came in, they were going to be positioned to continue to be, pretty successful. And I think Kalen DeBoer's, for the most part, doing a really good job with that. But one of the things that will always, you can talk about the national championships, the SEC championships, the first round draft picks, all the records that he broke. It didn't just break, shattered. But I think the most impressive part about Nick Saban as a coach and really his teams was his ability to maintain focus. It doesn't mean that it was easy every week. Teams would come out not focused. They would do things they're not supposed to. They wouldn't play well sometimes, against the Citadel back in 2018 or whatever it was. I mean, they came out flat. It was a tie ball game at halftime. I mean, a lot of people didn't even know Citadel had a football team. But, his ability to figure out ways to win the games that you're supposed to win at each and every time. Every single coach has a problem with that. And I don't know. I mean, to an extent, we know how he did it, but just, there was some secret sauce in there that no one will ever really know, even the people who were around him a ton. But it just, when you see stuff like this, Oklahoma it was a tough environment. I understand some of it, but just, these aren't the kind of games that Nick Saban would lose.
Yeah. Yep. So Robbie, kind of back to you. You saw this game and your first season. We've lost 3 games. It's the first time that's happened in the SEC schedule since 2010. Is it your fault?
I mean, if I'm going to be completely honest, I think it's your fault.
That sounds more correct.
I talked him into coming. Now, look, man, I love it. It's still awesome, man. Like Clint, you think we're out? I saw there's a 33% chance, but think about all the losses that happened today.
Yeah, I think you got to have some more hope.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of told myself 3 regular season losses is where I would cut it off. Not saying that it's impossible. And granted, there's been times in the past where it seemed like it was impossible. Like all these teams have to lose for Alabama to get back in it. It's not going to happen. And then all of it would happen. And then next thing you know, it's 2011 and they figured out a way to get right back in the conversation and get a rematch against LSU in the national title. So if that time comes, no one will be happier than me. But I just think at this point, man, I'm not seeing it because there's too many things in my opinion that has to happen. And just when you're losing to 5-5 teams and you're losing to Vanderbilt, I guess they're 6-5 now after
they lost tonight.
Yeah, so I mean they're we've always criticized others for these types of losses, and they're good teams. I mean, it's the SEC. I think I stand by what I said about the tough schedules and everything. I think Vanderbilt's a tough team to play. I think Oklahoma especially going to Norman, that's tough. But I don't know. I'd be shocked. Obviously, if they figure out a way to get in, it'll be a shock, I think, to pretty much everybody. But for me, it's more of how do you start righting this ship and getting ready for next year?
Yeah, and this is a great. I love this quote or this comment because the problem is that Saban's standards so high. And even if DeBoer's a good coach, but those are hard shoes to walk in and fill.
Nick Saban couldn't even fill Nick Saban's shoes at the end.
Yeah.
I mean, that just the standard that he had set for himself in Alabama's program. When you start throwing in NIL and transfer portal and conference realignment, which never came under Nick Saban, but I mean, just you saw the chinks in the armor then. So even the greatest of all time, who overcame just an incredible amount of obstacles, even he was starting to he was still at the top, obviously, but he was not, 2009 to 2018 or whatever, Nick Saban, just as far as the standard and being able to do it consistently. I mean, it's tough for anybody.
Yep. Any final thoughts?
I mean, like you said, you guys experienced the Saban reign, and I think that quote really summed it up well, is that he is the greatest coach of all time. We're trying to compare any other coach to him. Like, I mean, if you want to leave, like, we can't even compare Kirby to him. You want to talk about comparing DeBoer. This is his first year with a new team. I'm not saying he's doing a great job or a bad job, because I don't know what it's like. This is my first year really watching college football. But the fact that we're trying to compare him to the greatest coach of all time, it seems a little unfair.
All right. Well, we're 10 minutes away from 3 hours on the post game show. We're glad that we got to hang out with all of you guys. I want to tell you that 300% deposit for the casino and 50 free spins when you use that promo code next round. Do it, man. Take advantage of that. We're talking about Big Elmo a lot tonight. You guys brought him up. He loved that stuff. He used to tell me while I was driving, he'd be like, I'm playing right now. Like, he'd be like, I'm up $600. I'm up $1,200. I'm cashing in. Like, he just loved playing. So, but take advantage of that using the promo code next round. Like, subscribe, thumbs up, Cover Crimson, and our Cover Crimson YouTube channel. Is anyone else on 3 hours doing a post-game show, Clint? I wonder.
Hey, we do it. I love grinding for people, man. And I'm not gonna lie, I'm like an 8:30, 8:45 bedtime guy now. Now I wake up at like 5, but my wife, she's got me on I used to be like I got my best work done late at night when everybody else went to sleep and I could focus. But the reason I'm saying that is I could have easily have gone to bed 3 hours ago. But I had some things I had to get off my chest, and I just love talking to people. And I know people wanted an avenue to comment, call in, and share their thoughts. And so, I mean, we love doing this, and that whole thing with my bookie. They're such a big part of what we do and what we want to do, as far as this site continuing to grow, the channel continuing to grow. So if you're someone that does the whole kind of gambling thing, do what Mick said. Take advantage of that opportunity. Hop on there. Take advantage of the promos, because you don't know how much doing that sort of thing supports us and allows us to continue to do this. And I always want to be able to do it and provide these avenues for people and the calls and everything else. So I'm happy to be here. Robbie, it was good to meet you. Mick has only said good things about you, which is, coming from him, man. I think you're making him proud, because you're everything that he wasn't when he was a student.
Everything. You know what? I did something that he didn't do tonight, and that's I cut my mustache right here in this track.
Everybody, now I saw people in the comments, and they were saying it was your fault because you cut the mustache. They don't realize that you cut that thing to start this show. You did it live on air. So anybody that was questioning,
go back and watch, people.
Yeah. That's we're not going to put that on you, but I will say it was kind of a sacrificial
mustache.
It was the way it was done. Well, it was fun, man. But it was this was fun. This entire show, despite the fact that I'm going to get off here, and I guarantee I'll be walking to the bed here in about 10 minutes, and I'll still be dog cussing about this loss. It was tough, but I feel better about it now.
Yeah, the thing to me is that of all the crap that happened in the game, for that dumb ass official to throw that flag,
you're always going to hit the officials the hardest.
But it's like, what are you doing, man? Like, You know,
hey, okay, all right.
Can you imagine like being wrong on that stage, on that play? You, Mr. Official, are a dumb ass. Just get out of the way. Like, you can't get that wrong.
What do you think my bookie would give me as far as odds on Mick hopping on this Sunday show tomorrow and bringing this exact topic up? And at some point, him saying, "Are you kidding me?" At some point, I guarantee you the odds are minus 600.
But you know what? I'm sorry, guys, but a good F word every once in a while when you're pissed off feels damn good. Okay. And when I saw that, I'm like, of all I get it. Like, we stunk. We didn't have a game plan. We're doing everything wrong. We didn't look like Alabama. We got our ass kicked, everything else. But then that penalty on that play, like, we might have lost. We might have scored one more touchdown and might have made it 7 or something. We might have just lost by that score. Who knows what would have happened? But how do you get that wrong? How do you get that wrong, man?
How do you get criticized every week?
And keep your job.
Yeah. How do you get criticized every single week? And then you turn around and you're like, you know what? You thought last week was bad. Wait until you see what I pull this week. It's like anybody else. I feel like at some point we got to be like, guys, I don't know if you realize, but collectively as a whole, you are moving in the wrong direction. And we have now gone weeks this entire season. And there's not been one single week where we haven't had some blatantly obvious, terrible calls to point out.
I'm giving yourself credit. Y'all have the same name, all you guys. Well, I'll tell you what. I had a great time tonight, despite, like you said, Clint, the very lackluster effort for Alabama. Guess what? We got 1 week to figure this shit out, and that's right, Dickie. I see you just threw Dickie's comment up. We got 1 week because I'm not going to be happy if we lose next week. I'm just telling you right now. Don't come and expect Happy Mick to be here next week if we lose the Iron Bowl.
And if a ref is responsible,
oh, come on.
Just he might.
But if we win,
set Tuscaloosa on fire.
If we win, I might drop a few back.
You're dropping a few back regardless.
I'm just telling you, man. I've been taking it easy lately, but it's the Iron Bowl, and this season can go down as a pretty good season. First year, 9 wins, get to a bowl game. Maybe you get your 10th. You beat Auburn 5 times. But I hope this coaching staff realizes that what they're about to walk into is, very heavy.
It's a dogfight.
Yep. I heard Fox today trying to, say that Ohio State Michigan game is the biggest game in college football, and I just want it to be like, man, get out of here. Get out.
Come talk to me when one of their fan bases starts killing trees. That's all I'm saying. When you start messing up the environment over a football game, come talk to me when that starts happening.
Yeah. Where's your Roll Tide, Willie?
Yeah, exactly. That's a good point. You bring him forward.
Have you seen his beer shows?
No, he got a show.
It's a short. They're beer shorts. He drinks beer and then spits it out. He doesn't like any beers, but he liked the pickle beer. Do you see those?
Yeah,
Rob?
No, I've seen them.
That's so funny to me. Oh my goodness. All right. Well, listen, everybody. Again, Roll Tide. Thanks for being here. Like, subscribe, thumbs up. Hit us at covercrimson.com right now. If you do the annual subscription, you get the Cover Crimson t-shirt, and we also appreciate you. And as we're redesigning this site, which it's in the middle of a facelift that you don't see yet, but when it goes in the face, the people that are there now are going to get a special badge for the message board. Basically, just hey, look, you were there from the start. So thank you all for being a part of this, and we'll talk to you tomorrow, man. Roll Tide. There.